I guess I can pull up the stream and
Yep. Theoretically, theoretically, I
see what
hit
Michael
the
has
button.
to say.
I hit the button. I mean, we have people in the chat. We are theoretically live.
We are theoretically live.
We are theoretically live.
Yes, we are live.
We are live. Hello, people. Hello. Apologies for the delay. We had some technical issues on both our ends. Yay Linux, yay Discord, yay all the things.
I blame AI and also the cheap Chinese webcam that I own.
I was the one who blamed AI before we started, and then you made fun of me for that.
What? I agreed with you that AI was to blame. AI is ruining Linux.
AI is ruining Linux. So, hello. We've got people in the chat. We've got Cass. We've got 44 Nifty. We've got Sharktopus Guy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this long anticipated live stream. So what's funny about this live stream is this was supposed to be in January because this was supposed to be the equivalent of the self-indulgent birthday show.
Right.
And it got delayed many, many months, but we're finally here. We are ranking the songs on the 2 Lipstick albums, which I do happen to have with me right here. Lipstick 1 and Lipstick 2. And also I've got the precursor albums because I just had them nearby. The album that Billy Morris did with Warrant that has very similar production to Lipstick 1. And of course, you know, one of the greatest albums of all times, spoiler alert, classic magnum opus of an album, which a couple songs ended up on the special edition of Lipstick. But we're not ranking those because it'd be unfair. Those would obviously rank at the top. There's no point. We all know Illim and Fight Club are the best Lipstick songs, but aside from those, Lipstick 3 when? Sean Darko asks.
We've already got demands for it.
Lipstick 3 is happening after we finish the freaking EP we're trying to do. Once
we can get a 4-song EP done, then maybe we'll start working on our
6-song EP.
Well, but 2 of them are recorded already, right?
I mean, yes, but still for the sake of the audience, it's a 6-song EP.
That's fair.
And unless we want to do like really go nuts with the tracks, add all the Game of Thrones songs on there, add the thrashed version of Rock and Roll Anime Girls, and add every alternate version of Gotta Eat When You Can, all the local regional versions. New York style pizza. Ooh, I want to eat ya. Gotta eat when you can. All of those. So yeah, but we should. We're finally ranking the songs in the albums. And what's great about this ranking is ordinarily when we've been doing these podcast live streams, it's been just whoever is on the episode. This is the first time we've ever done like audience vote. And so that is very interesting that getting a lot wider of a spread, and I think it's a lot more interesting this way. It's a more of a pain in the butt to tally up everything when there's ties.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot more fun to discuss the songs in this way. So what we did was the songs on the first 2 albums, basically each of them have point value. So I think the highest any song could get would be
25 or 26, I see.
Yeah, I think 26 points would be the highest any song could get. And then we collectively added up the votes to see where everything landed. And it's
wow, there's a clear consensus on number 1, but a divisive consensus on number 1.
I mean, there's not really necessarily a consensus. I'm not able to look at the chat and the ranking at the same time, so I'm sort of hopping back and forth. And every time I flip over to the ranking, it freezes Steve in place. So that is just the weirdness of streaming with Discord. But it's a fun way to talk about all the songs in the albums. And the first song we're actually going to talk about is one I specifically asked everybody not to rank, but we're still going to talk about it. And the reason I didn't ask everyone to rank is because I didn't want it to be awkward. where if someone put like the song that I wrote for my wife in last place and then like ranked really low. And so we're just going to pretend that this one ranked at the top and it's the best because that's just the most honorable way to do it. But we're going to talk about Love of Some Kind first before we get into the songs on the album. So, Steve, what are your recollections on this song?
I mean, this was an interesting choice. I think, you know, as an older person, I think I cringe a little bit looking back on the idea of performing a song in public to an audience as a marriage proposal. That's one of those things, like, you know, it's a little bit, it's you know, kind of manipulative. I think public proposals are a bad idea as I reflect on things. But, you know, I think it worked pretty well in this case. And
Yeah, 10 years of
you know,
marriage. I think it also depends on the person and whether or not you were talking about marriage. And so with
that's
with Amanda,
true.
we were talking about
surprising
marriage.
somebody with a public proposal is
Right.
is, you know, if they weren't expecting it, if they weren't going to say yes anyway, definitely don't do it.
No, but like we'd already gone shopping for rings. And so like it was just a matter of like she was waiting for a romantic gesture of it. And obviously performing live with a live cello player with a song written specifically for her. She said yes. It went well.
That's fair, yeah.
And you know, as far as the song musically, I think that I pretty much wrote the chorus and the bridge, and then I think you wrote the verse music, if I recall correctly.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly our total level of involvement, but yeah, I think you showed up with like, you know, the good majority of the song written, and then I helped you polish it up. You know, largely I didn't want to have too much input on this song myself, just because, like, you know, this is the song you were writing for your, you know, hopefully soon to be fiance. My take on that topic is never going to be very helpful, you know?
Well, but also like, hey man, I need some help. I need some chords for the verse.
Right. Oh yeah, writing chords. Writing chords is definitely something that is not a fraught thing to do for a song like this. But like lyrics, you know.
Oh yeah,
is a
no,
weird
you had
thing to
nothing
do.
to do with the lyrics.
Did I do lyrics?
No, none of the
Yeah, I
lyrics.
don't think I did any lyrics.
So none of the lyrics. Basically, I was like, dude, I've got
The
a
ooze.
chorus. I've got a chorus. Can you give me a good chord progression that'll like lead into it with the verse? And then that was your contribution.
And the ooze.
And the ooze, and also the backing vocals on the album where you did a Greg impression during the aggressive vocal at the end, where there's layers of Steve underneath Greg, but he's trying to sound like me. And I actually thought you did a great Greg impression. If I die, we know who's going to sing for Lipstick. But what's actually interesting about the song, when you compare it to the live version, I think that the live version that we did was better because I think Josh just kind of doing whatever on the cello and just sort of freestyling actually made the song better, even if it kind of like clashed with some of the vocals. I think that frantic energy made it more interesting. And also the way that the full band played it after the full band kicks in, they changed the rhythm slightly. And so it wasn't the way we played it straight on the album version. And so I think that was sort of lost in translation. We didn't realize that as we were recording the album version. And when we did the album version, we actually had a full band arrangement behind the entire song. But then we realized like it didn't sound good, even though like we had a drummer behind the entire track. And so we actually cut all of that out, cut out like the electric guitars and bass and stuff during the first giant chunk of the song because it did work better, more stripped down. So
we talked about
it was me
doing
singing the
a
song, Cass. I was singing the song, but the backing vocals at the end, like layered underneath, there was layers of Steve underneath my vocals.
Layers of Steves. We did talk about doing a if we ever did a special edition of this album, possibly including the full electric arrangement of it. But Greg's then fiance, I remember in particular, really didn't like that arrangement, and Greg, sort of deferred to that. And
Yeah, I mean, if the
moot
song is
point, 'cause we
ultimately
didn't.
an expression of love and affection, and the person I wrote the song about doesn't like what we did to it, I think that version is better left unreleased. And I think it's also a better choice. I think ideal version is somehow we, had Josh playing a little bit crazier on the album version, and we got the rhythm of the second section closer to the live version. I think that would have been the ideal studio version of the song. But that said, I think the track we did is quite good. I do like Amanda's spoken word at the beginning underneath Josh's cello. I'm sorry, atop of Josh's cello. I think that's very pretty. I think it's a nice sounding song. The strings sound nice. Like, it is a good recording, one that I'm proud of, one that was made with love. And so despite some flaws in the translation, I still think the sentiment is there, and I still think it's a good song. And where it ranks, we don't know. We didn't rank it.
The trick with getting Josh on a recording, one of the things I think is great about Josh as a performer, but is also a liability in the studio, is Josh really hates to do anything that isn't improvised. So, what they did that day in the studio is what they did that day in the studio. And on any different day, they would have done something completely different. And then when we had them do it live, they did something else completely different. Which, I think can get great results, can get bad results. But, everybody here's listened to Regdar, and they know how much I love things being a little bit different and unpredictable show to show. So
yeah, well,
that was Josh is nicknamed Analog Regdar whenever they guest in that band.
Yeah, that is a great nickname. And I think, I think there's something we said about like that live version was magical, and that like the magic was there for that. And we didn't quite capture the magic on the studio version, but I think it's still good. And I wonder if, I have mixed feelings in retrospect as to whether or not it should have been released at all, just because it is such a personal song. And so like the people who have heard it tend to love it and think it's beautiful. But I also wonder, would it be better if it just like stayed that very personal song? And so I have mixed feelings on that. Like, I'm glad it's out there to a degree, because like I've had, actually interesting. I was talking with a friend about this just the other day. One of the Final Fantasy writers listened to both Lipstick albums because we were chatting about Thin Lizzy and how great Thin Lizzy is. And like, oh, I've got a band. So we decided to check them out. And he said, Love of Some Kind made him cry. And so a guy who wrote like some formative fiction for me that made me cry, cried from my art. And so that was a beautiful full circle moment. And so it's like, like I have the mixed feelings on it being out there, but I'm sure like the people who like the song really appreciate it. And so I'm ultimately going to say it is good that it's out there. But I think some of the magic maybe was lost in translation.
Sure.
But now we're actually getting into the ranking, the songs that you folks at home ranked, and ranking as the least best song on the two Lipstick albums, because there's not necessarily a bad song, but ranking at the bottom pretty decisively is I Want the World to Know. And honestly, I get it. I think that, first of all, this is the worst vocal across the two albums. This is a bad vocal take.
That's fair.
And I think part of it was Billy Morris, God bless him. I love him. He's my buddy. He is more of an engineer than a producer. And so a lot of people give Billy a lot of credit for Lipstick One, but I was really the producer. And I was really the one who was, the arrangements and the sounds, like, and the direction was all me. So like, he wouldn't necessarily give me direction on like what's a good way to approach a song vocally. It would just be me telling him, hey, play guitar like this, and he would do it. And hey, we know we need to adjust these levels. Like, he really was like an engineer following me as the producer. And I think that I didn't deliver the right emotional approach to the song. I have different tonalities of my voice. And I think the tonality that I used on the bonus track version is actually quite good. That more like Springsteen, Americana, Heartland rock thing. That vocal on that version is actually good, actually suits my voice. But because of the synthesizers and like the Def Leppard guitars, I wasn't sure what approach to take to it vocally. But the song And also the song is like pretty crammed with lyrics, need to be probably trimmed down in order to flow better melodically. But that said, like
Yeah.
that the
The
rhythm,
scansion gets rushed.
yeah. The rhythm is really great. I think it's one of the best like drum patterns in the catalog. I think the keyboard sound is really good, and that's actually me playing keyboards on the original recording. So I love that synthesizer tone. And that guitar solo that Billy plays is one of the best lipstick guitar solos. It's melodic, it's beautiful. And so, and the bonus track version, your like ghostly vocals towards the end of the track are fantastic.
Mhm.
Brilliant production choice. So I do think there's a good song there. And I think the unfortunate thing is like between the two versions, there's not the perfect version of the song. If we had my vocal from the new version and the instrumentation from the original version, that would be potentially a really fantastic song. But we sort of have these two versions that are good in their own ways, flawed in others. I think the re-recorded version is ultimately better, but it is missing that awesome keyboard tone, the great drum pattern, and Billy's great guitar solo.
It's fair. I think my big thought with this particular song is lyrically it just needed a more mature Greg on it. I think, teenage Greg had a lot less experience with the world and hadn't like really started to grapple with his own trauma yet in a way that would allow him to like really make these lyrics hit well. As it is, they're just kind of like, it's a little bit saccharine, a little bit sappy, and I think it could have been stronger lyrically if you'd just written it 5 years later.
Yeah, I mean the musical part of it was actually written very early on. That like piano part is a very old part, and this was basically like "In Case I Die" song. So I'm just like, well, I got to record the "In Case I Die" song. Like you have to make sure
that's fair.
You have to make sure that's done whenever it's done, and like I could record it later, but what if I die? That's why it had to be done as soon as possible.
You just re-record your "In Case I Die" song every 5 years.
Yeah, with different perspectives. Like, I hope my life insurance policy pays out well. Frig.
That would actually be a very fun career retrospective album to have, of just like somebody who recorded an "In Case I Die" song every 5 years for 30, 40 years. And then after they die, you just release that one album of all that perspective.
Yeah, and it looks like the comments are generally agreeing. Like, there's good musicality. I do think the sentiment of the lyrics are there, but like you said, they could use more refinement. But yeah, the vocals, the vocals are bad. On the original recording, the vocals are straight up bad. Like a lot of people find it shocking when I just say like, oh yeah, my vocals on that song are terrible. And they say, oh, my vocals on that song are fine. And they get very confused. I think they think either I have like a huge ego or I beat up on myself. And I think it's more just like, no, I'm just like looking at this as like a music critic and trying to be objective about it. Like, no, like these vocals are bad. There's a bad vocal performance. It was the wrong direction. I think we did like the vocal effect we were trying to do was like trying to make me sound like a robot. Like I was a cyborg remembering my my relationship with my family back when I was human, but then my body's been transformed.
What?
I think
Why?
I think that was ultimately what we landed on as like what to do in terms of the vocal approach, which shows you how much involvement Billy had. When I'm just like, I guess I'll do the robot thing. So really, this is like pre-Regdar.
Or pre-Lipstick 2. Just Robot Ghosts is real.
Right.
Lipstick 2, and especially Lipstick 3 coded.
Yeah, this is actually sung from the POV of Ellie.
Now we got to write a Robot Ghost into Lipstick 3 and do a rewrite of this song for that.
I've actually got some more ideas for Lipstick 3, but we're going to not spoil those and move on to the next song on the list, which is Love One Another. So we're not in triple digits yet in the votes. And I'm going to tab back over to look at you. So you're going to be the one to sort of like judge people's rankings. What's the consensus on Love One Another?
Love One Another is mostly pretty consistently people's not favorite. Hold on, I need to. Oh no, LibreOffice doesn't support that, except for Oat. Oat ranked that one third, but everyone else, most everyone else, put that in the bottom 10. Cheese and Cass both put it right in the middle, but it's got 3 2s, a 3, a 1. It's not everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I actually really like that one, and I don't view it as nearly as flawed as the last song we did, where, like, I Want the World to Know the vocal is bad. And this one, I think I should have cut out the Greg being a Southern preacher at the end. That part should have been cut. That was a bit too cheesy. But I think the rest of the song actually kind of slaps. I think it's a good, like, Bob Dylan-esque vocal, but like Bob Dylan when he's not pitchy. So like it works in that context. It's like the right amount of like jaded and preachy and scolding, but like in a good way where it's like, yeah, get your shit together and make the world a better place. And I think that actually is like just like a bitter John Lennon, Bob Dylan kind of thing. And I think the band actually sounds quite good. What we did with their guitars on this one is Billy recorded it initially with like a direct in guitar that sounded kind of like a Mike Oldfield thing, and it sounded bad. And so I said, no, you're going to record this with an actual acoustic guitar. But the two of them mixed together actually sounds quite good. And so that original take he did is there mixed with an actual acoustic. And so the two together sound good. And I think it's nice to have a song that is an acoustic song played very well in the catalog. I think it sounds good. I think it's a nice change of pace. And also I realize the songs that rank at the bottom are the ones I play instruments on. So I don't know if that's a coincidence. But this is me doing the guitar solo because Billy was on the phone in the other room and I was just working out a sketch of what I kind of wanted the guitar solo to be. And then it's like, you know what, that works. That'll just be the solo. So that was me just like riffing, trying to find a pattern that worked for the song. And I think it's a, it's a catchy solo. I think it sounds good. Yeah. So I like this one a lot more than the people at home do. Let's see what the comments are saying, what the people in the chat are saying.
You still only put it 10th from the bottom though.
I mean, an embarrassment of riches, such a great catalog. There are no songs that sound bad except for the vocals on I Want the World to Know.
Yeah, this is one where I, opted to be my usual villain self, and I ranked it near the bottom, just, with the comment, obligatory ballad, gets obligatory low score.
Is it really a ballad, though? I don't think it's a ballad. I think it's just an acoustic song. Like, I don't think it's a ballad. It's pretty up-tempo.
It's a mid-tempo acoustic song, so yeah, so it's not in the same category of ballad as I Want the World to Know, for example.
Right, like, I mean, it's it has a pretty driving beat, like, it's pretty consistent, and lyrically, it's not like, girl, I love you, even though it's called Love One Another, just like, seriously, there are starving children, come on, capitalists, do shit.
Per my taste, though, that's a ballad.
That's fair.
It's a We Are the World ballad.
I think it's a little bit too mean to be We Are the World, though. It's very, like, finger waggy, like, come on, guys. Rockin' Donkey says it's a ballad. I don't think this one is a ballad.
Rockin' Donkey says for a hair metal band, it's a ballad.
I still don't think it's a ballad.
I mean, no, that's not really true, though. Because, like, a proper ballad for a hair metal band is monster ballads.
Right.
So I will disagree with
when the
Donkey
children
there.
cry is a lot slower, dude. It is a lot slower. It's like the tempo does matter. Like that is a factor in this. If you have a driving, consistent drum beat, I don't think that's a ballad. I don't know. That's just me. We've got some disagreement. But yeah, Love One Another. I think it's a pretty cool song. I am proud of that one. I think that is a good one. And next up on the list, there is some disagreement between myself and Steve, certainly. This is one he's never liked, but I think is quite good. We've got It's Christmas and You Don't Want Me Here. Uh,
Yeah.
I I love this song. I think this song is great, but also this is very much an authentic 70s glam rock song. Steve does not listen to 70s glam rock. This is very much
I mean,
Wizard, T-Rex,
not often, no.
Sweet. Like you don't listen to 70s British glam. This is a 70s British glam song through and through. This is a T-Rex song. I love it for that. I think you find the vocal annoying. I find the vocal
Yes.
authentic 70s glam. And I find it to be one of the better vocals, where I think the problem is I tried different styles of singing, and it's about what is the style that works for the song. I think this style, while it's annoying for you in general, like you probably won't enjoy listening to Pretty Boy Floyd, but it's what works for the material. Like how some people find Billy Corgan singing annoying, but it works for the material, it works for what he's doing. I think for this kind of song, that is the right vocal approach. Just the nasal and the little bit of grit in the right places. I think it works. I think the drum fills are fantastic, very Wizard-esque. The guitar solo is fun because the first half of it was written by me, and then Billy decided to add the harmony on top to make it sound like Thin Lizzy, because I was thinking, oh, 70s glam, let's do a T-Rex solo, and then he turned it into a T-Rex solo. And so I just thought that was fun. It's got sleigh bells as per tradition. It's closing out with a Christmas song as per tradition. I like this one, but feel free to rag on it.
So the big thing is actually when I used to have a blog on the Regdar and the Fighters site, I remember I had a post that cited this song specifically, in that there are some times where just like a song comes right out the gate with a sound that just upsets me. And from that point onwards, it becomes very difficult to enjoy the song on any level. So just like the nasal "It's Christmas" right at the top, that just catches in my craw immediately and makes it so that I can't appreciate the rest of the song, even if it's accomplishing what it sets out to do. The other one I said in there was Mika's "Big Girl, You're Beautiful," which is a good song, but like also starts with the most misophonic straw slurping sound for like 10 seconds, and I hate it.
Man, that's a great song also, and also very glam, very, very glam, that song.
Yeah.
And also I remember you talked to me about this one. You're just like, you found the story behind the song way more interesting than the song itself, and you had frustrations with like how good the lore was versus the
Right.
song that came out of it. But it's like, yes, I had a traumatic experience around Christmas time where I was homeless and staying with a friend's family, and then they kicked me out around Christmas time because, like, yeah, you can find your own place now. And that made me very very bitter, jaded, and sad. And then a girl that I was in a relationship with offered to let me stay at her place for Christmas. And then I'm like, well, obviously you write a 70s glam song about this. That's what anybody does in this situation. And you're like, oh, that's a really interesting story. It's too bad I don't like T-Rex that much. But yeah, I think the song is good. Looks like the chat is actually pretty favorable towards it. They might not have ranked it as high, but I don't think they have the disdain that you do. Except for maybe, did Cheese rank it at the bottom?
No, Cheese ranked it like fourth from the top.
Oh,
the lowest ranking
ranked at the
after
bottom.
me
Sorry,
is Jingles.
The spreadsheet is confusing me. Yeah, you were so this is the worst lipstick song in the catalog according to you. Or
Yeah.
at least from the two albums. Yeah, that is
Yes.
that is a hard disagree for me.
That's fair. Probably some of those Game of Thrones songs.
No, the Game of Thrones songs. Yeah. Anyway, we'll that'll be a separate stream. That'll be a separate stream ranking those. But next up on the list, we're finally in triple digits. We have On the Eve of the Attack next up, and I've been talking. You go ahead. Talk about this one, Steve.
Yeah. So I was looking at my rankings and I was a little bit surprised that I put this one fourth from the bottom. But I guess, just sort of like As we often say on this show, the cream rises to the middle. And I think just of the songs, I get a little bit distracted by my histrionic vocal delivery on this one. Like,
in fairness, I told you to
I don't
do
know.
that.
There was.
I told you, like,
You did tell me to do this.
this is Roger Waters' Arrow the Wall, where he's really stringing. That's what I told you to do, and you did it.
Yeah. Yep. And I still don't know if I think that was a good choice, but we accomplished what we set out to accomplish with it. And yeah, I think just like a little intro song with a silly vocal, I think it lands. It shouldn't be your favorite song on the album because it's an appetizer, right? Like, it's not there to be the song. So you're like, yes, let's listen to that one. You're like, oh yeah, all right, this song is getting me pumped up for the next song is the goal. So yeah, towards the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, the song was meant to be a Pink Floyd-esque, 1 minute intro song to get you pumped up. And I think it does accomplish that. Like, I think it's very Pink Floyd. This is one of the oldest songs in terms of the timeline of it being written. This is like age 15 or 16, something like that, when I wrote this one. And then just got, put in the back pocket because it didn't fit on Lipstick One, and served as a really nice lead into Fight Back, which was written in that same era, actually. So those were just old songs I had since high school, just like sitting around. So you in the chat, those songs that you have sitting around since high school while you're in high school, those might be pretty cool songs later. So, don't write them off. Definitely save those songs. But yeah, I think, the lyrics were sort of supposed to be like, I was going with like color theming, and then a lot of like Dragon Ball Z, Planet Namek stuff ended up in there because of Bluegrass.
All Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, so really, really warming you up for the Dragon Ball Z themes of the album. But I think it served as a great prelude to Fight Back, because I remember this wasn't the original intent of the song when I wrote it. When I wrote it, it was sort of be about, the day before battle, and you're preparing, with the armies and stuff, and reflecting and knowing that you might die, and just the anticipation that comes with a battle. But Fight Back being a song about like overcoming child abuse and, literally fighting back, there was at a certain point a plan to actually fight my stepdad with my friends, and like us training with weapons to take him down until the cops came. And so that song sort of embodied that spirit as the lead into Fight Back. So yeah, I think it's a cool intro to the album. What's the chat saying? Just checking the chat periodically.
They agree on wormy vocal histrionics, and they compare it to "I Remember You" by Skid Row.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I think there is a little bit of that in there. I think I was going for more Zeppelin, but I think the way Chase played it had a little bit of Skid Row in there. So it's sort of like a little Zeppelin, a little Skid Row, a little Pink Floyd. And yeah, I think a fun intro to the album. And the lowest ranked Lipstick 2 song.
I know.
But next up on the list, we're back to a Lipstick 1 song. And this one ranked surprisingly low, given what a staple it was of our live set. But, that is the joy of seeing how different the Needle Juice fans are. So Having Fun is next on the list. This one is interesting because you came around on it a lot, where you initially put it in like the It's Christmas kind of category. And you even said, I'm going to rewrite the song and make it better. And then you're like, actually, you know what? It does what it's supposed to do. It is a fun live song. And, the verses are a little bit long, which is the weird part about it. They're really long verses, but I remember Adam appreciated the chord changes in the song, where it wasn't typical 12-bar blues, where it made you think it's going to be typical 12-bar blues, but then the chordal pattern goes unexpected places and is still like pleasing, but also a surprise. And so I think it's fun that way. This was my attempt at writing a 70s glam song that was trying to write a 50s rock song, which was a very specific genre. Like every 70s glam band is like, here's our boogie woogie Chuck Berry song, but they always had like the 70s glam production. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to write a 70s glam song trying to write a 50s rock song. And that's what Having Fun was. Lots of fun
Yeah.
little musical references, references to the Beatles, references to the Doors. And it was fun because you got to sing part of it live. You would always sing the part that's the doubled vocal.
Yeah.
You would sing that part live, and I think that added a great dynamic to the song. And Mr. Cool would come out, we'd throw balloons. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah, as I said in my notes on this one was a lot more fun to play live, I think, than to listen to, which makes sense. This is the sort of song that is built to be a live staple with the sort of magic that like you never really can recapture in the studio. And Jingles is mad at all of the heathens who downvoted it.
Yeah, and as far as the Beatles references, there's a couple in there. There's talking about I want to hold your hand, I want to be your lover, I want to be your man. So there's a couple different Beatles references. Moonlight Drive being a reference to the Doors and also a Friends Doors tribute band. And it's lyrically it's weirdly introspective for a party song because it's reflecting on life and reflecting on the good times and acknowledging that like a good chunk of the time you spend hanging out with friends is recalling stories of other cool things you did. Like if you go out to a bar and you're talking with friends, you're like, remember the one time we did that? While you should be making a new memory, you're often talking about old memories. And so like surprisingly introspective.
That's how memory
hit on a
works,
party
right?
Song. What?
That's how memory really works, though, right? Is like we don't actually remember things as they happened. We remember things as we recall them, and our collective storytelling forms those memories. So actually, by hanging out with your friends on a night out and discussing things that you remember from previous such nights, you are, in fact, making new memories, and that you are shaping how you remember those previous things.
That is true. So having fun, shockingly
Technically
deep hair metal
correct.
song. Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
It's like the
yeah.
opposite of party misogyny, party philosophy.
Oh, and Cass, if you see the stream freeze, that's every time I am checking the ranking. So it freezes whenever I do that. Because as soon as I click away, that happens. But I will say this about having fun. One of the weaker guitar solos in the catalog, I think it's just kind of fine. Like if I'm ranking all the guitar solos, this one would rank towards the bottom. Fun song though.
Having fun song.
Speaking of 12-bar blues, next up is Stop, Drop, and Rock and Roll. Next up on the list.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I put this fifth from the bottom just with a single note. I just don't love 12-bar blues. Never really have. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, I think so. The problem with this song is that I think it's of all the songs in these two albums, maybe the most generic. Like, because Having Fun at least has like an interesting chord inversion that you don't expect, and the lyrics are like oddly reflective for that kind of song. And Stop, Drop, and Rock and Roll is like basically a blues rock song about blues rock.
Yeah.
And it's basically this was
and
me
being on fire.
And being on fire. You know, like trying to have a theme. Just like, you know, blues rock is like it's so, you know, hot that it gets you on fire. Like, you know, hot music. And this was me really trying to please Eric in the band because one of the things I really tried to do as band leader was make my bandmates happy. And so I got accused of being like a awful dictator who ran the band and just wouldn't let anybody allow them to express themselves. I was just trying to do quality control. And so when people would submit songs and they weren't good, I'd say, oh, let's try to do better. But I also tried to balance that with, I can't keep rejecting songs. I have to try to let other members get their stuff in here. And so there's that push and pull of like, this isn't good. But also if I don't give them a bone, they're going to quit. And so that was sort of the struggle I had with Lipstick. It wasn't so much with you because like you wrote pop hooks. And so like, even if there might've been an issue with lyrical direction, you wrote a hooky song. The other band members struggled with hooks. And that was sort of like the difficulty of just like, I wrote a riff, like it's not a good riff. And then that's not to say that this isn't one of the better songs that got submitted. It is. But I think it was like me trying to make Eric happy by including it on the album and, you know, because I'm trying to make everyone happy and feel invested in the project. and make everyone feel like they're contributing and not just like Greg's the boss. I want everyone to feel satisfied with the project in the long run, even if I'm quality control producer. And so this
Right.
was originally meant for Eric to actually sing in the band. And so to give him a highlight showcase song. But then while recording Lipstick 2, he had a baby with his at the time wife. And so he had to quit the
Fiance,
band.
I think.
Fiance, they got married. I don't remember the timeline of things. But the point is, it was intended for him to sing, and then he ended up having to leave the band, and that's why Lipstick 2 has so many guest musicians, was because he had to leave midway through and it sort of like threw things into chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we brought on our friend Morgan Bosman, who would sing with us live when we did like Jim Steinman stuff, and just like a friend of the band to make it more interesting, because singing it by myself in the studio was just boring. And just, this song is boring, but we already spent money recording it. Let's get Morgan in here to spice it up. And I think it's great. I think she does a great job. It adds so much to the song, that duet dynamic. I think her vocal choices are great. And what's really awesome is that the song has like a 80s Poison production, but then you get a like soulful R&B singer with that kind of like vocal production, and that's very interesting. That's not a dynamic that you like ever hear. And so it is interesting that way. I think Eric's guitar solo is great. You can tell he really cares about this song because he wrote it. And so it is one of the better solos in the catalog. And so it's about as good as we could have made it, but I'm not super impressed with the writing on this one. Like, it's solid. It's fun. Whenever I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, this does sound good. But I think it's one of the weaker written songs on the two albums.
But yeah, I agree. I think the back and forth with Morgan is definitely like a high point of this song.
No, like, she's fantastic, and it really just makes me want to put her on more Lipstick songs.
Right, we should have brought her in for more stuff.
But I mean, as far as what was on Lipstick 2, she wouldn't have fit on the other stuff. Like, it's more just we had to record more stuff to bring in Morgan more Morgan. But yeah,
more Morgan and Morgan and more Morgan.
Yeah,
we're a law firm now.
Yeah, we're a law firm now.
That would be hilarious if you got C and D over this podcast for a
over
joke.
That. I mean, we all know free speech is dead, so.
Lipstick, trademark infringers.
But yeah, let's see. So do you have any other comments on Stop Dropping Rock and Roll? Because, I mean, you are notoriously not a fan of the blues. And so this song must have been just
12 bar blues structure specifically.
Right.
Like, blues itself isn't as grating to me as just when songs follow that particular pattern. Because, for people who don't know, this bit of my back lore is I learned bass mostly from a book. And that book it would teach you a basic of the theory of playing bass, and then they would have you play a 12-bar blues with it. And every lesson was learn a bit more bass, play a 12-bar blues. And then, like, at some point, like, 14-year-old me was brought along to a jam session with a bunch of, dentists and doctors. And I was the only bassist there, and I didn't know the instrument well enough to be really comfortable doing much. And so it seemed like every single song was, I would play the basic 12-bar blues riff, and everybody would take their turns soloing over it. And it felt like every single song went on for 10 minutes, and I was so insanely bored. And I went to a couple of these jams, and was like, I hate the blues.
I mean,
all these dentists with the blues are so boring.
I mean, in fairness, like,
I don't think they have the blues at all. They're not poor people whose girlfriend just left them.
Right. I think maybe I appreciate the blues more. Well, let me put it to you this way. Upper middle class white people ruining the blues is some of the worst shit ever. Like, I completely understand that. And I have deep visceral hatred for it at the core of my being. And so, like, I understand why you hate the blues. It's just that's the wrong kind of blues. That is the watered down vanilla fake bullshit of like, oh, I'm so edgy because, I play like the local fair on the weekends. I got the blues. Like, no, you don't, Mr. Dentist. Shut up. You've got a 401k. You don't have the blues. So, like, remember how I've talked to you about like my hatred of like white people funk? and just like the disgust I have for it, that also applies to this. Like, that is why, like, when I saw Eric Clapton live, it was one of the worst concerts I'd ever seen, because while he might have had the blues when he was younger and been like great back then, he sucked when he was older. And he was like the dude in the polo shirt and the shorts. And I'm just like, you do not have the blues in a goddamn cargo shirt or not, and a goddamn polo shirt. Get off the stage, you hack. So yeah,
Cargo shirt. I mean, back when he was actually on cocaine, you know, his shows probably had a bit of edge. I mean, his shows definitely had some edge to them. I have heard that rant that launched the Rock Against Racism program.
Anyway, so Eric Pentecoff, better guitar player than Eric Clapton. Next up on the list, we have Alone, another concert staple. Sean Darko ranked this as the best lipstick song. And little did he know that the freaking Needle Juice kids were just like, what hair metal towards the bottom?
Right.
So this one is interesting because I actually wrote this one in my head and then had to teach myself how to play it. That's actually a lot of lipstick songs are written that way, where I just hear it in my head and like, oh, shoot, what are those chords? That's a very common compositional structure where I don't riff around on guitar as much. And so maybe that's why my songs are more hooky, is because I come up with the hook first and then learn to play the hook, rather than, oh, I wrote this mediocre riff, let me try to write a hook there.
Maybe.
But I mean, this is also another song that was sort of inspired by the homelessness arc. And so there's genuine bite and edge to this. I do think the vocals sound good. I think it's one of my better vocal performances. I think it's arranged well, played well, good riffs, good structure, good lyrics, good melody. I think what I was trying to do in terms of the like structure, I think for the verses, I was kind of picturing like a Black Sabbath droning riff and a Jim Morrison like vocal on top. And then the two together sort of gave like this dark atmosphere. And then the chorus was just like your Bon Jovi, Dokken, just big fucking hair metal chorus. So yeah, I think it's a strong song. One of the goals I had with writing songs was I wanted a song where like someone could sing along to it the first time they heard it live.
One second.
Oh, you're fine. I'll keep talking for the chat. You've heard all this stuff before. But yeah, so I wanted to write a song that you could sing live the first time you heard it. That was sort of the goal with the song. Because I'd seen so many bands growing up, like in the 90s, like these alt-rock bands, and just like the hooks weren't good. And I wanted something that were like, you could sing along to it the first time you heard it, like it was, you know, a classic rock song that everybody knew for generations. And so that is why I wanted my songs to be really, really catchy, because I wanted people to be able to gravitate towards them immediately. And so Alone fits into that ethos of a song that someone who has never heard before should be able to sing along with. And, oh, Steve is completely frozen, which is fun. And now Steve is no longer frozen, which is even more fun.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was taking a minute to connect.
Got it.
Are you able to hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Alone?
Yeah, Alone, I ranked this one in the middle. I have always sort of thought of this one as a pretty prototypical lipstick song. So songs like this were actually why I was like a little bit surprised that, you know, Greg not only wanted me to be in the band, but to write for the band, because he'd heard Regdar, and so he knew the sort of sci-fi nonsense that I love doing. And so when he was like, Steve, you gotta help me write songs, I was like, what? I don't write hair metal songs about sort of generically standing up and fighting against a world that wants to keep you down. I write a very specific fighting against an evil space empire that wants to keep you down kind of things. We need details, man.
Well, so my thing with that is that I was more concerned with melody and hooks, and like whatever, we can change the lyrics. Like I can't get these guitar players that I'm working with to write a hook to save their life. You can write a catchy hook. That is like 90% of the battle. And then if I just had to tweak around some words, that is nothing. Like your melodic structure was so much closer to the band than a lot of my co-writers. And so that was why I recognized that, like, whatever differences we might have lyrically, that strong melodic structure, that strong hookiness was leaps and bounds more important than any lyrical issues.
Which is convenient because that is something that like I have never really given much thought to. I just like write melodies that make sense to me. I'm like, well, this is catchy to me. I think this sounds good, and then just convenient that I just intuitively write catchy songs, I guess.
Oh no, it's so convenient. It's like pulling teeth for other people, and so that's when I'm like, I have to poach this guy immediately. He's great. And also it had like the, you know, the cheap trick dynamic of like, here's the cool looking guy and here's like the awkward nerd, but that works because you play it up so much.
Because there's no other way to play it.
So next up on the list is the song I put in second place, and Victor Krause also put in second place. Sean Darko put this at the bottom. 44 Nifty put it at the bottom. So we had quite the variance with this one. We've got Merle next up on the list. And so this is sort of the opposite of Alone in a way, where this actually was written by me riffing around on the guitar and then seeing what comes out of it. Where I was playing the Loudness song Let It Go, and I was learning how to play it because I thought the chords were interesting. But because I was playing on acoustic, it had this different flavor to it. And so I was just kind of messing around with it, and you know, I was a big fan of the book Wuthering Heights and the 1939 film version. And so I thought, oh, what if I wrote like a love song about like someone that is impossible to reach, like a love at first sight, but it's someone who is like long since dead. I thought that was an interesting dynamic. And I think, you know, like what would be like the most I'd do anything for love, like over the top romanticism, like I love you so much, even though it's literally impossible for me to be with you. And so I didn't necessarily intend it to be a Steinman-esque song, and I didn't have any plans on how long it would be when I wrote it. I just said, I'm going to write this song, and rather than it being very calculated, because like when I write songs, I even have like the length in mind when I write the song. Like this song's going to be about 3 minutes and 33 seconds. It's going to be about this lyrical theme. It's going to have this hook. I'm very deliberate when I write most of the time. Merle was me actually naturally writing, letting the song naturally grow and evolve and breathe. And then when I, you know, saw the finished product, I'm like, oh, it's like 7 minutes. I guess I should add some piano and female backing vocals because it's basically a Steinman song. So it wasn't written to be a Steinman song. It's just, it accidentally became one. And it's a song that actually went over well live despite its length. It actually did get good response. And I think the trick with this one is that vocally, I was just not up for singing it. I think I, at the time, was not a competent enough singer to really pull this one off. And so it loses some points for that. I think the writing is there, but it needed a stronger vocal. And so it doesn't fit with my range. So that does kind of knock it down some points. But I think the lyricism, the back and vocal arrangements, sort of like the spoken word section, the intro and outro, the great guitar solo. I think there's a lot of excellent elements, mostly brought down by my vocal, but I do think the writing is overall there. And yeah, so I like this one a lot. It's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, this is one that I ended up ranking pretty low just because like it is the sort of thing that I should like as the big dramatic Jim Steinman way too long story song. And like it's interesting that you say that you didn't set out to write that, because this is the song in the catalog that I think most wears your Steinman influence on its sleeve. But yeah, I think what you said about just your vocal wasn't there. Honestly, the arrangement isn't a super great match for a lot of your voice in terms of, you know, where your voice has ever been comfortable. And like a lot of it is just too low to sit comfortably in your register. And I think the Lipstick One production ends up feeling a little flat for it. Like, you know, this is a song we needed to throw a whole bunch of money at to like get a symphony and real piano on kind of thing.
Right. Well, I mean, it was real piano. It was an actual piano player on the track. And like, yeah. So that wasn't MIDI. That was like an actual keyboard player that I hired for it. So I think on an actual piano though? Yes.
Okay.
So I think the trick with Lipstick One is that for those who don't know, Lipstick One was actually never supposed to be released. It was actually just supposed to be a demo. It was supposed to be a demo that I would take to Nashville to shop around and
Right.
also like look for bandmates. And then I realized the reality of like, oh, I need product to sell at shows. And people kept asking, can we buy these songs? And so that's when I begrudgingly put out the album. And then sold so well, we actually had to put out the special edition with the bonus tracks because like we sold out. So, it was never supposed to like this was supposed to be like a sketch rough draft essentially. And
Right. Which
so
it fits that pretty well.
right. And so I think if I were to redo the song now, I think I would actually I think I actually would be able to sing it now with a better vocal approach, more the Bruce Springsteen kind of thing that I did on I Want the World to Know, but with more breath support to give it that energy. And so I think it would work if we were to redo it. But also I think we'd probably lose the magic of the original recording in a way. And so it's best left as it is. But I think, I do think it's a good song. It's just let down from, I think, again, a lack of vocal direction because I didn't have Billy guiding me. And so this is me like 19 years old, like trying to figure, like I lost my virginity during the course of this album. Like there was one song that was recorded while I was still a virgin. And then the rest of it was like, now Greg is a man.
now Greg is a man.
But ironically, the song that was recorded while I was a virgin like has more swagger than some of the other songs. Like, damn it! Now that I've had sex, I'm less cool. But Merle, I think, is still a good song. I'm proud of it as a songwriter. And again, I think it just shows what a huge Steinman fan I am. Where like, if I'm not thinking about it, I'll just accidentally write a Steinman song. Like it wasn't deliberate at all. It was more just like, shoot, I guess I got to add piano and backing vocals to this now. Yes, Steve is the cool looking guy. That is correct.
Having sex is cringe. So true. So true, Jingles.
All right, so and next up on the list, one of the few co-writes in the catalog without Steve on it. So we have Tonight, and that's up on the list, which I think that's the other co-write, because I think Stop, Dropping Rock and Roll and Tonight are the only co-writes on the two albums that aren't you. So Tonight is next on the list. I was talking for a bit, so why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, so I put this one in the sort of like upper middle. I think it is one of the catchiest songs on Lipstick One. And in my notes, I said it's probably one of the ones that would have most benefited from a re-record for the proper non-demo version of Lipstick One. But like talking about that right after talking about Merle sort of gives lie to that idea. It's the one that second most would have benefited from a re-record. But I think this one with that little bit of extra polish from like serious production would have helped a lot.
Yeah, I think
but,
so. Part of it is
the consensus is broadly in the middle.
Yeah, so part of it is so Sean Duran, who I wrote the song with, plays guitar on most of the track. Billy does the first solo, but the rest of the guitars are Sean. He was uncomfortable with Billy's guitar tone because it was too intense for him, so he wanted to have his own guitar tone, which was just not as good. So that is part of it, is that production is a little bit weaker because of that guitar tone. And what's interesting about this one is that this is the closest of all the Lipstick songs that is what it sounds like of Greg's high school friends jamming and that being recorded. Because Sean Duran was a guy I went to high school with, and the drummer on this track, Tim Blackman, who only plays drums on this song because the drummer on most of the album was just like, did not understand the song and just like played it, did not vibe with it. He was just not understanding what we were trying to do. And so we had a friend of mine who's like a jazz drummer play drums on the track. From high school. And so it's like me and two buddies from high school. And then Billy was mostly on bass, except for the first guitar solo he did. And then the keyboardist who played on Merle, we brought him in for this track and Rock and Roll Forever, because I thought the song kind of had like a more melodic Journey kind of vibe to it. So I thought the keyboards would add some lushness and fill out the track a bit more, which I am very glad for. But this song was literally written in my grandma's basement, me jamming with my buddy Sean, and it was actually the first time we wrote together, and he's more of like a hipster singer-songwriter guy. And so I
Mm.
thought like, well, whatever, I'll just write songs in his style and it'll be whatever. And I'm open and I want to just, make my friend happy. And he shocked me by like whipping out a bunch of hair metal riffs and was rocking really hard. And then this song just came from us jamming in that basement. And that's like how the song was written essentially. But the reason why the second verse is so long is because I wasn't able to be in the studio that day, and so I left them like directions on the song arrangement, and they just accidentally recorded it way too long, and so then I just had to come up with a way to make that work. And so that's a little fun thing about the song. And another fun thing is that the guitar solo that Sean does, the second solo, is the same solo note for note that we recorded in my grandma's basement. I'm guessing one of the comments made you laugh.
It's just tabbed over to the comments, and regarding the last song, Rockin' Donkey said, Greg got some lipstick on his dipstick during the recording of Lipstick. Sex is cringe.
Sex is cringe. But yeah, so the same guitar solo as recorded in my grandma's basement, he had to learn it, and I guess struggled with learning the solo because he just improvised it. It's like asking Josh Dent to play something twice. But I was so impressed with the melodic stretch. I'm like, you got to learn that solo note for note, and he did. And so I think it's a great song. I think Sean played. I think everybody played great on the track, and I do like there is at least one song on the Lipstick albums that is like, this is Greg's friends in high school playing together, but also like the dude from Warrant and a hired gun keyboard player.
Just a bunch of teenagers and the dude from Warrant. You guys are like a Black Flag.
Then as far as where we are in the ranking, Sean Darko, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
like
6.
10 in.
Yeah, like 10 in, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another fun thing about this song is that Adam, whenever he played with Lipstick, wouldn't bother learning the guitar solos because he just like, whatever, I'm not going to play what some other guy played. But he loved Billy's guitar solo on this song, the first solo, and he would actually play that note for note. And that was very interesting that he was just so into that solo. Sean's solo was like, whatever, I don't give a shit about that guy. But Billy's solo on this track, he was really into. Next up on the list, the song, as we were talking, the song recorded by Virgin Greg, We're Here to Rock You, opening song on Lipstick 1, next up on the list.
Well, that's probably why I ranked this one so high. This is the one that I ranked top of Lipstick 1, and just because, like, virginity rules, it's great.
Virginity rules, you guys. I mean, there is something hilarious about, like, recording a hair metal album as a virgin. That is kind of funny.
There was
remarkably
a
chaste
Canadian TV show called Cocked Guns that was basically like a 19-year-olds in a hair metal band, a la This Is Spinal Tap. And one of the big plot points throughout that whole thing was that, like, the cocky, swaggery lead vocalist is actually a desperate, lonely little man who has barely ever even had a girlfriend and is definitely a virgin.
Tremendous. So yeah, you ranked this the highest of Lipstick 1 songs. Why don't you take point on this? And I mean, this would have obviously been probably the first Lipstick song you heard when you played with us with Regdar. We probably opened the set with this, so this would have been your introduction to us.
I think
musically.
so. Yeah. No, I think I describe this one as the platonic ideal of what Lipstick songs were meant to be, especially in the Lipstick 1 era. Is just a song about, overcoming hardship and fighting the world and being triumphant and rocking, and maybe girls and rock and triumph.
I mean, yeah,
and I think
Cody did say every Lipstick song is like, on the surface it's about rock, and then underneath the surface it's about overcoming child abuse. He said that was every Lipstick song.
Right, and this one is very much that one. I'm surprised at how, like, I feel like this one is sort of at a cutoff, as the next one up jumps 15 points. Of like, this one is consistently divisive of people ranking it very high or very low.
Yeah, I think so. I do think it is a strong opener. It is a, it's a great opener for concerts. It's very weird because, it's, I like the way I Rock follows it. And so We're Here to Rock You is about we, the band as a unit. I Like the Way I Rock is about me, Greg, as an individual. And the weird thing about Lipstick is that it really is like a singer-songwriter solo project masquerading as a band. And so I wrote songs for a band. And this is like, yeah, we're a band, we're in this together. And that's just never really what Lipstick was aside from you, essentially. And so, but like this is a song written for a rock band. It is meant to be a rock band. Um, and this was interesting because this was my first time in a professional recording studio, not just like recording demos in a basement. And this came about because I was trying to record an album with some other musicians, and they just did not understand the material. And they played this like a ska song, which is just not what this song is meant to be. We'll get to ska songs later in the ranking, much later in the ranking. But like, it was just like, I had to work with musicians who understood what my vision was. And so because I was friends with Billy Morris and he offered to do it, he was the obvious choice. Like, all right, I need like an actual hair metal dude to record these songs for me because like once the recording exists, people can understand, oh, that's what I'm supposed to play. But when it's me just showing people
Right.
on guitar, they're like, I don't understand what you're going for here. And so that was one thing that Billy understood. But I mean, I learned a lot because this is my first time in a recording studio, and Billy insisted on recording with his Floyd Rose because he didn't feel like grabbing a different guitar, which meant that's why the song is like tuned down a half step, which wasn't written that way, but that's just like why it is like that because it was the one time Billy recorded with a Floyd Rose, and then I insisted, no, we're going to do standard tuning for the rest of the album. But uh, I think there's a lot of cool stuff in the song. I think musically, it's very much Crash Diet. Like very much Crash Diet in the DNA with a little bit of Black and Blue during the solo section. And interesting enough, the bass player on the track, I don't know who it is. It is some friend of Billy's who just showed up at the studio who just started playing bass. I didn't pay him because I paid everybody else on the track, but like he just showed up and started playing it. And I don't know the dude's name. Billy doesn't remember which friend if it is. And so, yeah, that's why Mr. Cool is credited. He's like, I just don't know who the guy who played bass on We're Here to Rock You is.
I wonder if they know that they did it, or if they would remember if like heard the song, they'd be like, oh, I think I did bass on that.
I think they would because they described it as heavier than what they normally played. So I think they were more like standard, like pop rock covers. Like I think they were like a cover musician friend who's just like, yeah, I'll play bass on this because they just happened to be around. But yeah, I think it's a good opening track. I learned a lot through doing it.
Mystery Cool.
Mystery Cool.
Clever cats.
It was like me, doing all the layers of vocal harmonies for the first time. Like this was a good learning experience, but also I think as far as like my first time in a professional recording studio, like that's not bad for like for a 19-year-old kid. Like that's not a bad start.
Especially working with no producer, because like most 19-year-olds who work in a professional studio, they're there with, an actual production team and artist development to make sure that, they churn out a proper Radio Disney certified product.
Yeah, I had to be the, producer here. And don't get me wrong, Billy had a lot of talents with like, getting a good drum sound, getting a good guitar tone, helping me with like figuring out the harmonies. Like I don't want to downplay his contributions, but I also want to be honest about what, the contributions really were for that song. And also a fun fact about this song is that the band struggled to play this one for a long time because apparently guitar players can't count to 6. And so that's why, like, when we did it live, we had to add in more drum fills because they're just like, oh, I forgot the chorus was that long. Like, it's the same chorus each time. Count to 6. Like, but I can only count to 4. And so I always thought that was really odd how they couldn't just count to 6. Like, it's not a prog song. It's not a hard riff to play. Count to 6. And you're just like, I'm a bassist. Counting's all I do. This is fine. But yeah, We're Here to Rock
Barely
You.
paying attention, but I can see that the vocals are about to transition, so I guess I'm doing the next part now.
Yeah, We're Here to Rock You ranked pretty low, but I think it's mainly because, like, this is largely the Needle Juice crowd, and that is a, like, pretty straightforward hair metal song with like no humor in it. It's just like, here's me overcoming
Yep.
adversity and rocking. Like, I'm not here for adversity and rocking. I'm here for nerdy shit. We're fans.
Yeah, the
We came in here because of
Needlejuice
Steve.
folks are mostly making puns about Mr. Cool's name in the chat rather than engaging with the song itself.
So next up on the list is what I think is actually the best lipstick song, and it's like towards the middle in this ranking. So
Cream rises to the middle.
So next up is Stop. So a few things I want to get out of the way before we get into the song. When you sent me your notes and you said it was mixed poorly, I do agree with you. The guitars are way too loud in the mix. The lead guitars. The vocal slapback effect is too much, and that's actually partially my fault because we kept going back and forth about trying to dial in the levels just right. And I felt I was annoying you, so I just like got to a point that was good enough and didn't keep pestering you when I probably should have. So that's like, no, when you're in the studio, actually pester and annoy until it's good. But I was like, I'm feeling awkward and self-conscious, so I didn't do that. So that's my bad. And I think the vocal approach is just wrong. I think the gritty vocal, which you and my wife like more than my nasal vocal, is the wrong take for this song. It is too aggressive. It does not fit. I think the nasally glam vocal would be much better on this song. Even if you don't like it as much, I think it fits the material better. And so I think the problem with Lipstick 2 in a lot of ways is that I wasn't trusting my instincts as much, and I was more listening to outside feedback in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And I think I should have said, no, Steve, you just don't actually know what glam is. We're doing the nasal vocal. Shut up. But I was really trying to, put my ego at the door, consider what other people around me who I trust were saying. And sometimes they were right, but I think I needed to trust my instincts a bit more. And so I think Stop suffered from that. But as far as the writing goes, yeah, this is probably the best song I've written. I think it's really catchy. The hooks are fantastic. It has great momentum throughout. Maybe instead of like doing a full band stop, we could have like kept the drums going like we did live. That probably would have done better. So like, could have used a better producer on it than us. But as far as the writing goes, yeah, this is the best Lipstick song. I think easily the best Lipstick song in terms of writing. It's my favorite. But also it's like, my favorite band is the Beatles. Like, what is like the most Beatles-esque, poppy song in the catalog? It's this one. It was written to be stupidly catchy. Originally a Greg Troyan band song. And there's a little bit of Bachman-Turner overdrive in the bridge. And those are my notes on Stop. Steve, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, you covered most of what I said. That the mix really just wasn't where it needed to be. Guitars too loud, slapback too loud. And yeah, I think the doing the full band stop on every single instance of the word stop was too much. It's a cliche that we should have done twice in the song, and then otherwise kept things going throughout. But I don't think we realized how much of a cliche it was at the time. Like, we encountered it at a time or two, but like shortly after we released this album, I saw somebody did a supercut of every single song they could find that did the exact same move, and I was like, oh no, there are dozens and dozens of these things on major labels with like 60 years of history. We should have really gone easy on that.
I mean, I think it's more just I think it just maybe got a little bit annoying to listen to with the full stops rather than the drums going. But I mean, it was also, it was inspired by, Stop in the Name of Love. Like, that was part of the inspiration for the song.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was me, like, this is my 60s bubblegum roots coming out in this song. And just like, I still think it's great. It's a flawed recording, but I think a fantastic, fantastic song. Like, despite all those issues, I love it.
Unfortunately, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
I was going to say, nobody is ever going to do the full band stop on the word stop better than Electric Six did with stop, continue, and then the riff comes back in. Like, nobody can top that. So like, and that had happened, 7 years before we did this. So like,
but is Lipstick a band really worried with cliches? Like, I mean, with how many songs with rock in the title? Like, it's less about the line from I Like the Way I Rock. everything I can say has been said by somebody else, but I don't really care. I want to say it myself. That is, the ethos of Lipstick in a single line. And so Stop is like, yes, this is a throwback to 60s bubblegum. Do you think I care? we're doing this.
That's fair. But also, we want to say it better whenever possible, right?
Right. I know. I think we do want to do, we want to do the songs as well as we can possibly do them. Eric's guitar solo on this is great. And, one of the reasons we really made sure he played the guitar solo on this was because he, developed that guitar solo live and it became a part of the song essentially. And so I really love his solo. Yeah, I love the song way more than everyone else, but I think it's because I'm mixing like the headcanon ideal version of the song versus what came out on the album. Like I think a better vocal would have saved the song quite a bit, even with all the other issues. But I think it's the wrong approach for this song. It's not a bad vocal, but just it doesn't. It's Mighty Mighty Boss Stone singing this when it should be Mark Bolan.
The Mighty Mighty Bolins.
The Mighty Mighty Bolins.
Mighty Marky Bolins. Wait, no, that sounds like Marky Mark is involved in that project. We don't want him.
Well, hey, speaking of nasally vocals, next up on the list, the first song of ours to get a music video, the Conan Song.
I feel pretty ambivalent about this one, I think. Because I think it never was our strongest song, and like lyrically it was very much pandering. So people who weren't into Conan and his extended works were always going to be a little bit alienated by it. But I think it was a good Hail Mary. I think trying to do something like this, trying to do a big aggressive push to get it to Conan O'Brien's attention, I think that was a cool idea. I think that was a great idea, and it was worth doing. And it's disappointing that it didn't really stick. But I think the song itself is fine, and would be much better remembered if this idea had stuck.
If it had stuck.
I also see that Needle Juice folks didn't like this one. I think they recognize oh, joke song. We're here for that one.
Well, sort of my idea with this one was, I remember watching when Stephen Colbert had a fake feud with the Decemberists, and that sort of was the next of the idea of what if you got a band relationship with a talk show host? And Conan was my favorite at the time, and I wanted to write a song that was a meme song, but was a good song. I didn't want it to be just here's just the gimmick. I wanted it to be an actual good pop song, melodically, musically in its own right. And I think the Conan Song is actually a good song. Musically, it's very much a hair metal song, which is you've got the big drums and you've got, the space between the guitar riffs. That is hair metal 101, Poison, Motley Crue, all those bands, the space between the drums and the vocals, very hair metal. Billy Morris said the chorus haunted him because he would wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and the chorus would be stuck in his head. And so he said this was the song that got stuck in his head the most. I think it's one of the better guitar solos on the album. I think it's a fantastic solo. And I think it's the appropriate amount of humor for the song. And so people say oh, Lipstick 2, Steve ruined it with the jokes. That was always there. That was never
It's true.
That was never absent from the band. It's more just maybe we leaned into it too hard. But the core of that, Lipstick 1 had time travel and it had a joke meme song. So you can't say that it was never established from the get-go. It's just, we leaned into it a little bit more on the second album. But I think it's a strong song. I think it's a well-shot video. I still think it is I think it's a good song and not just a good meme song, and that was my goal with it. Versus the Game of Thrones songs, those are good meme songs. They're not good songs. Most of them. Drogon Coming is a good song. The rest of them I think are just good for a meme, not actually good songs. I think this is an actual good song, and I'm proud of the writing on it. Seeing if the crowd has anything to say.
They are enthusiastic about the Conan Song.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
They have also
great
described
comment.
it as being very Lipstick 2 coded.
Yeah, I mean, it is very Lipstick 2 coded. Probably fits on Lipstick 2 better than on Lipstick 1.
Yeah.
But it was Lipstick 1. It was a last minute addition. There was another song that was going to be on the album called Ain't No Shame, which was kind of like The Who, but more bluesy. And I wrote this one during the process of the album, and I swapped them out because I saw more potential with this one as a single. And I mean, it is still our highest viewed music video. Nowhere near as popular as my Final Fantasy 11 video essay, but hey, quality speaks for itself, I guess.
I mean, a big part of why this is our highest ranked music video is because we put what, like 80 man hours into promoting it, something like that.
I mean, yeah, and we got some good press. It just wasn't enough to go viral, but like it did well.
We really busted our rears on trying to push this one out there, which, it's a lot of work, and that's the sort of thing that you're supposed to do as a musician for every single thing that you do, on top of having a day job, which is a big part of why we're not famous.
Oh, I think the biggest reason we're not famous is that I couldn't afford hired guns anymore with my income.
That's true.
It's just like, all right, I'm at the when we were at the point where Lipstick was like breaking even with like merch sales and stuff, like, all right, whatever, I can do this. When we're at the point where like I am losing so much money from this and my income is shrinking rather than increasing, on top of that, like, ooh, yeah, I'm getting priced out.
Yeah.
But hey, we're coming back, baby. We're recording new music for you lovely folks at home. So we're figuring out the economics of this one day at a time.
Rockin' Donkey says that as a hair metal fan for 35 years, that hair metal needs more nerdy, goofy lyrics.
You know what? I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that, but I respect the take. So next up on the list, another song I ranked really high. So this was I ranked this third from the top for Lipstick songs, and ooh, Cash, you ranked this at the bottom. You just do not care about my trauma at all. Fight Back is next on the list. So this is, I think, as far as, the vision of the song in my head versus the recording that came out of it, I think this is the closest Lipstick ever got to achieving that. I think this is one of our best recorded songs in terms of the performance, production, just like everything working together. And, oftentimes I'll say like, oh, that's a good song, but my vocals don't fit the material. Like, this is the right vocal for this song. Your bass playing is perfect for this song. This is one of the best riffs I've ever written. It's catchy. The guitar solo is great. The layers of the vocals sound excellent. You can definitely tell like there's the budget constraints. Like it's, it could be like a little bit more rich and full sounding. But as far as like the attitude, the swagger, the aggression, and the fact that it's a goddamn shuffle because I'm a boomer, it's like exactly what I want this song to be, exactly as I envisioned it as a teenager. And like I think we really nailed this one as far as like the idea and execution. One of the better ideas in the catalog and one of the best executions in the catalog. So I'm not as surprised it ranks lower because it's not a goofy joke song. It's like, hey, here's a song about like overcoming trauma. And it's also a boomer rock song. It's a freaking shuffle. Like shuffles are for boomers. I'm a boomer, but I think this is phenomenal. I love this one. And maybe the best riff I've ever written is the Fight Back riff.
Yeah, I think if we had like 3 or 4 more songs in this vein on Lipstick 2, it would have been much better received by sort of our core fan base in the Nashville area. Like, I think, a couple more of these and people would have forgiven Gotta Eat When You Can.
And also the fans who bought
they got
the
a
first
couple
album
of really
online.
goofy songs on here, but they also have a bunch of bangers, so it's fine.
Right. And the fans who bought the first album online, because we did a lot of online sales too. So like that.
Yeah.
So we dropped off a lot with the second album, but I think like, and remember this was written pre-Lipstick 1. So this was before any corrupting influence of Steve wrecking things. But I am, again, super proud of this one. I feel like we nailed it.
That crack sound at the beginning took a million years to dial in.
Yeah, and that was completely your idea. Like I just like that was all you. That was you in terms of production thinking about that, and I think that was a great decision. You nailed it. Like I'm very proud of this one. I think, and again, your playing was perfect on this. Like the way I instructed you to play the song, and you just like completely understood what I was going for. Like it was great. Like no complaints here. Really, like only complaint is like we didn't have like a bigger budget, so it doesn't sound as rich and full. But like that's just it is what it
Right.
is. So let's see what is next on the list. Oh man. Also, this is ranked shockingly low given how popular this song was during our heyday.
Right.
Like, so the Flash is next on the list. This song was so popular, like one of our fans got the lyrics tattooed onto her arm. And the lyrics, and also what's funny about this is that the lyrics are a joke. It's meant to be stupid, meaningless lyrics that are just like absolute bullshit. Because I remember hearing how John Lennon wrote "I am the walrus," and like it was meant to be like stupid, meaningless bullshit, and wasn't supposed to actually mean anything. And the Kiss song "Deuce" was also written to be stupid, meaningless bullshit that didn't mean anything. And I also was thinking about like when Loudness was first written in English, and they didn't understand English super well, and the lyrics didn't make sense. And so it's just like, what if I wrote a song that was supposed to be stupid, meaningless bullshit, but also like English was my second language? That was what I was trying to do with the lyrics for the Flash. And it was actually written on acoustic guitar, on a little red acoustic guitar while I was looking at a Flash action figure. And I decided, all right, I'm just going to write a song about the Flash right now. Like no thought was put into it. Maybe I kind of wanted to be like a little bit like Loudness, a little bit like the Kiss song Deuce. But I always loved bands that had long extended jam sessions. I thought those were super cool as part of the set. Freebird or Light My Fire by the Doors or Working Man by Rush, like just a song where just like the band just jams out for a long time just to showcase the musicians, and the singer goes off stage, has a cigarette and beer. I'm just like, that is what I want in the set. Not even though I'm straight edge, the singer should get to just like hang out and do something else for a little bit. And so that was why the Flash was written, because I wanted a song where the singer didn't have to do stuff for a bit and could showcase the rest of the band. And, Billy did a great guitar solo on this. The bassist on the track was a friend of mine who mostly did like jam bands in high school. So that's why I brought him on to play bass. He's like, well, you do jams. You should be able to jam to this, even though it was much heavier than what he normally did. And like it ranks lower in this ranking, but this song went so well live. The crowds loved it
Yeah.
live. Like this was a staple of the set. And even though it was so long, like it ended up in our set all the time because the crowd ate it up, and it was awesome. So it really just shows you less Greg means better lipstick. Is the
Well,
lesson here?
I think the part about like, the vocalist gets a song to go take a break, except the fact was you didn't do that. Like I was on a wireless and the two of us would just run off stage and do stupid nonsense somewhere else every time we played the
Well,
song.
it
Like if
depends.
there was any way that we could like leave the building and start trying to get other people to come inside, be like, hey, you hear this awesome music we're playing right now? Come listen to it.
I mean, we did do. It depended on the venue. If there was a venue where I could elegantly go off stage, I would do that. But a lot of places like we couldn't. There wasn't like a good green room, and so I was like, well, whatever. I got to still put on a show. And so, like, if I'm
Right.
playing 5 spot, there's not a green room to go hide in.
The really notable ones to me that I remember at the times that it was particularly funny, like playing this one was, we were playing a house party for, was it Halloween or was it just like a regular house party
It was
where
just a
there was
house
like
party.
a big bay window behind behind where the band was set up. And so like the two of us just left and we went outside and we did half of the song outside the room, outside of the building, like mugging through the window, and Adam, our guitarist, was so mad at us. He's like, you guys can just leave me behind on stage by myself like that.
I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Let's see.
And then we did it in an anime convention where the stage was on the lower story of an atrium. So like we ran over and we took the elevator up and we're like leaning over the railing playing the song to the audience below us.
Yeah, this song is awesome. And the thing is, like, for a while, this was actually the song that got the best play on streaming. Apparently, this actually got some play in Japan because a military base in Japan like someone got a copy of Lipstick One and kept playing The Flash over their radio. And so it actually got some radio play in Japan. And so like that's why we sold so many CDs in Japan and I had to pay all those international
That's
shipping
tremendous.
fees was because of The Flash, because that song was like getting some underground rock buzz. So it's really funny that this song, which is like, is also my wife's favorite Lipstick song. Like people are just like, yeah, that one just fucking rocks. And so I think the vocal is good on it. Um, and so it's really interesting, like the Needle Juice fans not being as into that one when it's overwhelmingly one of our most popular songs by like the fans who saw us live. And even like when they were just buying the album, like the reviews were like, yeah, The Flash is the best song. Like it's, I think this one is a success, but it's really funny seeing it like ranking in the middle of this list. It's very amusing.
Right. Rockin' Donkey says that, it sounds like the band is just in a hurry to finish the song and get off the stage, which, a song called The Flash Feeling Rushed, on brand. That seems fair.
The song, it was called The Flash because it was meant to be high energy the entire time. Because
Right.
like young Greg, like I would listen to Jim Steinman songs and there would be like the parts that are fast and then he would like slow it down and like go into halftime for a section. And I'd be like, this is cool, but I want a song that's just fast the entire way through in 8 minutes. And so that was where The Flash came from. Just like, I want this to be intense and I wanted it to be metal, but I wasn't a good guitar player, so it came out more punky. But like, I just wanted it to be high energy for 8 minutes with a badass guitar solo, extended section in the middle. And that is what we did. And I was a little bit worried because I didn't know if Billy was a creative enough guitar player to pull off that long of a solo. Because, some of the solos we were kind of like struggling with on Lipstick One and he, got good takes, but I was like, oh, I don't know. Can he do like that long of a solo? And he did it. And it's great. I'm a big fan of The Flash.
Greg was just like, I want to write a fucking Slayer-esque thrash song, but not be one of those, as Adam in his package put it, Nazi fucking pricks and Slayer.
Right. Exactly. And speaking of rock songs, like high energy rock.
You mean the transition you can use for solidly 20% of this podcast, Greg?
That's right. Next up is another leftover from Lipstick One, from the Lipstick One era. It's You Can't Stop the Rock. So this song was never meant to be...
My notes on this literally are, this is just a Lipstick One song. How did it get on Lipstick 2?
So it was never meant to be on Lipstick One. I wrote it during that era, but it wasn't going to be on the album. Because 4 songs with rock in the title felt too much, even for me.
Felt indulgent.
But I was hoping to record it then. And the idea behind, and I did record a demo. But the idea behind this one was I had a friend of mine, a rock musician who was dying of cancer. And he was an older musician. And his name was Bill Pettijohn, who was in a Doors tribute band called Moonlight Drive, which got shouted out on Having Fun. And so I thought it'd be really cool if I could do a song with him and get something recorded before he passes, like to, give him like a final swan song. Also record something, and like establish our friendship that way. And I thought that'd be really cool. And I thought it would be really awesome to also get Billy on the song, Billy Morris, to sing. And so you'd have 3 different generations of rock singers, Bill Pettijohn being like the oldest generation, the boomer, Billy being like the Gen X, and then me being the millennial, and having all of us sing together on a rock song. And so I came up with like these lyrics that were basically about like rock as an entity. So like,
Keep going. 1 second.
Yeah. So rock as an entity and also God, like God and rock, basically the same thing. And unfortunately, Bill got too sick and wasn't able to record the song. And so I didn't end up doing like it in the studio proper and just did a demo. And then when it came time to select songs for Lipstick 2, because it was such a strong song, I was like, okay, well, this song should go on the album. It's one of the best songs we have. It's been in my back pocket for years. We'll just do it. And I think it's one of the better recordings on Lipstick 2. I think the vocal is one of the better vocals I've done. The guitars are really great. On rhythm guitar, we have Tom Pappas from Superdrag. So he's the bassist in Superdrag, but he is a really great rhythm guitar player and kind of fits like that AC/DC style very well. And then the leads are Phil Schaus, who played in Blackfoot, the Gene Simmons Band, the Ace Frehley Band, Accept. He has a really long pedigree of playing with a lot of really big musicians. And like I said, he's currently the guitar player in Accept, classic metal band. And, he's a friend of mine, and I thought he'd be perfect for the song. Brought him in, and it's one of the best guitar songs in the catalog. His playing has that classic rock swagger. It's just like absolutely great. So I am, I am a fan of this one. Uh, I do like the Flash better by a pretty significant margin, but that's sort of the nexus and story behind "You Can't Stop the Rock." And so I'm going to wait for Steve to come back before we move on to the next song, and also sort of see if he has any additional commentary. But chat, what are your thoughts on this ranking so far? He always makes me think of "Can't Stop Rock and Roll" by Twisted Sister. One of the most memorable songs I've heard. Oh wow, that's a compliment. Um, yeah. So actually, it looks like we're about halfway through the ranking. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 songs left. So a little over halfway through. Is the ranking going the way anybody expected? Because it is drastically different. I agree. I mean, Merle, I think, should have been placed higher. It's one of my proudest achievements as a songwriter because accidentally writing a Jim Steinman song is very cool. And I forgot to mention, but actually Jim Steinman complimented me on the song and said it was a very good song and that I was a good songwriter. And so I like, because Jim Steinman to me is on the same level as the Beatles. Like it's John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and Jim Steinman in terms of like my songwriting gods. And so it's like having a Beatle compliment your songwriting. Like you can't peak more than that as a songwriter. Like it's you can't top that. Stop, drop, and rock and roll ranking as low as it did. That's not as surprising. Yeah, it's Christmas. I would have liked to rank higher. I mean, Steve ranked that at the very bottom, and we haven't gotten to my last place lipstick song yet. We still have a ways to go before I get there. And the thing is, my last place lipstick song, like, I don't even think it's a bad song. It's just, I think it might have been wrong for the band to record. But by that same token, like, is anything wrong for a band to record if it's a good song and the fans like it? Like that's sort of the trick is like, do you, would you take away something from the people if they, if it turns out they would love it? So like, is it a song that hurt our career? Yes. But does it make the fans that we have happy? Also, yes. And so that's where there's that conflict. All right, and we're still waiting on Steve. So I don't want to do the ranking without him. So I'm going to take questions. Do we have any questions about anything, like anything, period? Any questions? This is an AMA segment. Wow, I'm waiting for the return of Stephen Smith. Currently it is just me. My wife actually cuts my hair these days, but I used to have like very specific salons I would go to. Like I had a one person in Cleveland would be the only person I'd let touch my hair, and I had one person in Nashville who was the only person who I'd let touch my hair. But nowadays it's because I'm not actively performing, just doing it myself. Oh, so like my favorite and least favorite Regdar and the Fighter songs. So the thing is, as far as like my least favorites, that would be tougher for me because like my least favorites are just songs I forget about and don't listen to. But as far as my favorites, I mean, spoiler alert is I think Steve's best album that he's done, period. I think it's just a fantastic album. I think it's one of the best albums ever made. Like I put that on the level of like, you know, like The Wall and Beatles records. Like I think it is up there. It is an excellent, excellent album. And so, you know, basically like anything off that is going to be really strong. And you know, that was the new Regdar album that he was promoting when I met him, and that was one of the reasons I wanted him in the band so much because like I just recognized like, oh, this guy is an amazing songwriter. And so it's like as far as like favorite Regdar songs, I mean, I think Ilium is definitely up there. Um, yeah, so Ilium is very high up there. You know, Fight Club, which you know became a lipstick staple, that's also very good. Teenage Girlfriend, obviously. I mean, there's Divine Right to Deforestation. That's another very strong one. I mean, there's so much great Regdar music. I don't know. What are your guys some of your favorite Regdar songs? Okay, yeah. So Sweet Sweet Illegal Horse Meat isn't. I think lyrically that one doesn't work as much for me. One Red Chiclet. Um, I didn't know what that one was about lyrically because I'm not that much of a nerd. And so when I thought it was like when I heard it live, like, wow, this is really strong. And then when I learned like the lyrics, like, oh, that's very silly. And Team Science, I like, but it's not on not on a spoiler alert level for me. I think spoiler alert is also like the best production Regdar's ever had. Like really, really good production. I think as Regdar had more issues over the years and became more chaotic, um, that didn't translate as well to the recording side of Regdar versus spoiler alert, like was the right amount of Regdar chaos in the production. Yeah, the Johnny and Constant stuff is really strong. I agree. Yeah, I mean, Steve is a great song. Like I know that like most of you discovered Lipstick because of Steve. Like it's just like we're all Steve fans. We need more Steve. What's this? Steve was in a hair metal band. Oh, that should be good for a laugh. And then like, oh, and then you came to like my contributions to Lipstick as well. But like I know that all of you are like the big Steve fans, and then just like, ah, Greg's cool too, I guess. Oh, and speaking of the man, the myth, the legend, frozen for a second, but hopefully coming back.
And the man, the myth, the legend, but hopefully, yeah, all right, I'm back. Sorry, my partner's off to East Tennessee for a couple days, so I had to see her off.
Oh, I mean, understandable. You should say goodbye to your wife. That's a good thing to do.
Uh-huh.
But we were just talking about Regdar while you were gone. They wanted to talk about Regdar behind your back.
I mean, I want people to talk about Regdar behind my back.
Well, you can always watch the replay later, so you can hear what people said about you.
This is true.
So you know what? We'll ask you, Steve. What are some of your favorite Regdar songs?
Divine Right to Deforestation is probably like one of the tippy top songs that, you know, I've done that most Regdar shows live. I mean, usually the ones that I really like are the ones that sort of get flagged as singles and that I do live a lot. So Fight Club is a ton of fun to do live. Um, Shaped Like Human is one of the more recent ones that I like a lot. I'm still sort of like mulling over in my head which ones on the upcoming album, Survival of the Fattest, are going to be like the single ones that I do live. But I like Secrets in Your Sleep a lot. I think actually Oat in the chat is working on an animated music video for that one, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, I know we were talking about on the Discord server of doing finishing up the Taylor Swift catalog and then moving on to like different like picks from people from the Discord and doing it like a book club thing where like we rotate who gets to pick an album, then we all listen to it and do a live stream.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll have to do some Regdar albums on this live stream. I think those would be a lot of fun for the folks in the chat. Might have to do some Regdar.
Yeah. I like the Nifty brought up Portal, one that they commissioned specifically. So okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I ended up accidentally commissioning a bunch of them by just hanging out with you while you were recording Regdar 2020, and just you're like, Greg, give me a song title.
This is true.
Paddington 2, Frozen 2, Dragon Ball Super Broly, because I just thought of movies we watched recently. So I have a heavy involvement on that Regdar release because I was in the room just shouting titles at Steve.
Pretty much, yeah.
My contributions to the catalog.
And a co-write on Rocket Girl when that one gets recorded.
That's true. I've made it. Speaking of rock, do you have any comments on You Can't Stop the Rock?
Oh wow, we're still on that one. Yeah, no, I think this one, I ranked this one, to like a upper half of the middle, where it's pretty good. It's a Lipstick 1 song that made it onto Lipstick 2. Probably if we'd made Lipstick 2 more like Lipstick 1, this would have been like a pretty mid-tier song on that album. As it is, it's kind of a standout in that, it's one of the very few rock songs on that album. Rock songs is in songs about rock.
Right. And also a straightforward, not joke song. Unless you think Religion is a joke. Is that a joke to you? Anyway, next up is Christmastime Machine. So this is...
Am I frozen?
No, you're no longer frozen. Anytime I tab over to the ranking, you freeze.
I was frozen in my video preview too. So
wow.
I was like, wait, hold on. How long am I holding this pose for?
So yeah, Christmastime Machine. This is interesting because this is one of the few like authentic co-writes of like you and me sitting down with guitars and writing a song together. A lot of it will be one of us will come with like, 70% of it, and then the other one will like help flesh it out or finish it. This was you and me sitting down with guitars, pretty much writing this one together. And so that's very interesting that we did it this way. And this one is fun because I was the one who got to sing the lyrics about Jesus, and you were the one who got to sing the lyrics about like, dating a girl in the Midwest. And originally you wanted to switch them. And like, well, I should be the one singing about Jesus and you should be the one singing about girls. Like, no, it's more interesting if we switch because that's not what everybody expects. And I mean, this was a fun song. There's there's a lot of narrative happening. The birth of Christ, right. Remembering your ex-girlfriend, Stegosauruses dying in the Ice Age, robots invading, traveling back in time to save the Stegosaurus. Like, there's a lot going on here.
Right.
And also,
there's so much.
But like, it actually works. We got good reviews on this song in particular when the reviews of the album came out. How it was like a rock opera in a single song, but it was easy enough to follow. And the for the Beatles fans in the chat, the sort of like counter melody thing we had going on during the bridge, that was my idea, inspired by the Beatles song Help. And also some of the melodic patterns were inspired by Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy for Steve's parts. But what's interesting is I think the melody you wrote for the bridge was what I sang, and then the melody that I wrote for the bridge was what you sang. And so
I don't remember for sure, but maybe.
No, I remember that because you were the one who wrote like the part about like the Stegosaurus and the Ice Age. I remember you singing that, and then like I started singing that. Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, Steve, sing this on top of that. And so that's this is really a great song that like showcases our back and forth of, doing stuff together. I think like I came up with the riff and like the verse music and then the chorus was you. This really was a full on collaboration back and forth. And, it shows that actually we are able to actually write together, not just like show up and like, hey, I wrote a song, we're doing it. And I think this is one of the
Right.
better songs in the album. Billy's guitar solo is great, and there's that continuity between Lipstick 1 and 2 by having Billy appear on the album. I'm really glad that he did that, and he did it for free. I kept
And
trying
having a Christmas song about Natalie.
yeah, and a Christmas song about Natalie. But also, like, I kept trying to pay Billy for the track, and he just, like, kept ghosting me whenever I asked about payment. And so, hey, can I, like, send you PayPal or Zelle? And he would only respond to texts that weren't about me paying him. And so, like, that was actually really touching, just like the friendship aspect of it. And, like, oh, like, gave me the feel. So, yeah, I like this one. I think this is another success. And also it has the Dragon Ball
And
Z
the nar-
narrator on it.
Yeah, and the narrator from DBZ on it. Nifty's talking about like, all right, songs that talk about Jesus are okay as long as they're good songs.
I mean, that's why I listen to Stryper. Well, not as much anymore because Michael Sweet has like given the Trump administration too much praise. I'm just like, am I surprised that like the born again Christian who did a hair metal band is into Trump? No, but is it disappointing? Yes, because the songs are good.
Throwing out Trump Constitution Bibles at concerts into the audience.
I mean, they were already okay with desecrating the Bible by putting their band sticker on it. So it's like that just seems like that's got to be sacrilege, right? Putting your symbol on the Bible, that can't be good. I assume that's
I don't
an
know.
issue.
Like translators have been doing it for generations. Zondervan has nothing to do with the Bible in and of itself, but their logo is still on most of the Bibles you buy.
Yeah, all right, well, I guess that's fair. And no, I think the Stryper vocals are good. I'm going to disagree there. I think Michael Sweet is actually a great singer. Like, he's good. He's good. Like, and the thing is, like, he's a nice guy. Like, when we met him, he was super nice and super complimentary and just like a total gentleman. But it's just like, fascism is bad. Like, that's a line for me. It's become a line for me recently where I'm like, you know what? I like you, but I don't like the fascism. Because like I listened to Ted Nugent a lot growing up because like, look, his politics are bad, but like in the Motor City Madman plays a mean fucking guitar. And like I still like enjoy the music of the Nudes, but like haven't shared any on the Discord server because it's like, look, I know Cat Scratch Fever is great. Wang Dane Sweet Poontang, 10 out of 10 classic. But I know I'm not gonna I know I'm just gonna get all the comments, so I'll just listen to Ted Nugent in secret shame.
Greg's secret shameful playlist of Ted Nugent and Gary Glitter and Stryper.
The thing about Gary Glitter is like he's like so bad that I don't even feel like shame about that in a weird way. It's like, yeah, okay, like you're like a pedophile, but at least you're not a fascist.
Or both. Like
Or
allegedly
both.
our current president. Pick which word you want to consider allegedly from that list.
Oh, I just realized I don't know if that will get the stream taken down. Hopefully not. PDF file. Anyway, I was talking about PDF files.
I don't know. It's not within the first 30 seconds, right?
Yep. Let's see. So, no, Ted Nugent has a lot of good songs, dude. Like as toxic as the man is, like he plays a mean guitar. Even Tom Morello says, like, look, I don't like his politics, but dude's a good guitar player. And
Dude wrote some mean riffs. Stranglehold.
Stranglehold's bitching. Yeah. Can't knock the Nudes musically. All right, so next up is what I ranked as the worst lipstick song, the least best lipstick song. So Steve is looking at the ranking right now. So next up is Rock and Roll Anime Girls. So here's the thing about
this one's
song.
so funny, though.
Here's the thing about this one. Is it catchy? Yes. Is it fun? Yes. Does it go over well live? Yes. Is it produced strangely well? Yes. Like the big rock and roll at the end and like the choralness of that is fantastic. Great guitar solo by Tom Pappas. Like, it's a good song, but we should not have recorded it. This song turned off so many reviewers and so many fans. And the thing is, there are certain things that are like a joke between band members, and we think, oh, haha, that's funny. And it's funny to us, but it's not all in jokes translate to the outside world. That's why they're in jokes. And so this song, which was written as a parody of Manpower, ended up accidentally being a parody of Lipstick. Because Lipstick was always more serious than Manpower. Like, we got goofy, but we always had way more depth than Manpower ever did. And we would tackle serious subject matter and would pull it off. Like, we would generally be able to pull off a song like Alone, where Manpower would never do a song like that. Like, there was,
No.
And the thing is,
the most serious that band ever got was, they were genuine in their love of Jackie Chan.
Right. And so when you take us, where we do have some songs about, like, anime things and girls, like, that is part of our repertoire, but it wasn't like the core of it, but it was always there. And also the idea, like, oh, we have to have songs about rock and roll. We have to have a song with rock in the title. It felt like we were making fun of ourselves. And it just,
That's fair.
I think it did not land. The joke did not land. And so even though, like, it's actually, like, as a recording, it's actually really good. I can't knock the recording. It's good vocals, good production. Like, it is a good song. But if we had to cut a song from these two albums, this is probably the song that should have gotten the axe. I love it. I enjoy it. But in terms of, like, what should have been sacrificed for increased sales and for not killing the band, I think this is the song to do it. And so if you rank it higher because you personally love it, I get that, but that's why I ranked it at the bottom, where, like, I don't think it's even the worst written song, but I think it's the song that should have been cut.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that reasoning. I think it probably didn't have as much effect as you want to say on that. I think, if we didn't also have the narrator from DBZ and the song Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon and a bunch of Namek references on the opening track, etc., I think this song in a vacuum would not have caught people's attention, caught negative attention the same way.
Yeah, in a vacuum, it's fine. But
I get what you're
it's
saying.
The straw. It is the straw on the camel's back.
It's too good at what it sets out to be.
I think the problem is also a lot of our fans don't know Manpower, and so they don't know we were making fun of another band, and so they're just like, "Oh, like, do they realize how dumb they sound here?" Like, they don't realize we're making fun of somebody else, so it sounds like we're making fun of ourselves, and that's the problem. So yeah, I still like it. Like, I'm still glad it exists. I enjoy listening to it. But as far as, like, if I have to rank a bunch of songs that I think are good, that is my justification for ranking something at the bottom. Like, something had to rank at the bottom. And I'm still glad it's out there. Like, I would rather have it be out there and kill the band's career than have it not be out there.
Maybe it should have stayed a live song.
Possibly. So next up on the list is one of my favorite Lipstick songs. I ranked it very high, very towards the top. And it technically tied with it tied with this, or so
it tied with Rock and Roll Anime Girls.
It tied with Rock and Roll Anime Girls, but it lost because of me giving Rock and Roll Anime Girls 1 point. So it lost the tie. Which is hilarious that these two songs tied of all songs. I Like the Way I Rock is next on the list. So this is the rock and roll side of my personality captured in a single song. Like, if you have to say, what is the essence of Greg? This song is a very good contender. Like, what is Greg all about? Like, this is Greg's theme song. If I was a wrestler, this would be my opening song that I come out to. Like, this is the theme song for Greg. If Greg has an anime, this is the opening theme song. And I think it's a blues rock song, but there's enough interesting things in it musically where it's not boring. Lots of references to music of different types that I like. A bridge that Steve actually thinks is pretty good, which is saying a lot for a Lipstick One song. He was actually really impressed with the bridge on this song. Um, the energy is great. I think it's one of our strongest songs when we did it live. And what was fun about this, the big thing live, is that I would always run out into the crowd when I did this song. And that was sort of like the signature thing that Greg does during the song. So yeah, I think it's one of the best songs in the catalog. I think the Needlejuice fans not liking rock quite as much is like, this is like an authentic ode to rock and roll song. And unlike
It's one of Jace's favorites.
It is one of Jace's favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of the signature Lipstick songs, staple of the live set. And, you know, where We're Here to Rock You is about the band, I Like the Way I Rock is about me.
Which I think is part of, this song is in a lot of ways just like a strict downgrade from We're Here to Rock You. I think We're Here to Rock You is just slightly stronger in most regards than I Like the Way I Rock. You know, people like to rock as a community. That's what Lipstick is all about. It's got We're Here to Rock You has slightly better hooks, better tone in the production, and I get that the cowbell abuse is part of the genre, but it's not my favorite trait of the genre. You know, there's just sometimes there's those genre tropes that you just don't like. I don't like lap steel in country music. I don't like quarter note cowbells throughout an entire glam rock song.
Well, that's why we only had it during the choruses.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this was me. Like, I insisted on cowbell on this track. I was very insistent upon it. And because like we need the cowbell. But I mean, there is, you know, a lot of fun stuff here musically, like Billy adding that Uncle Tom's Cabin part during the second verse. I think was really cool. I love the call and response guitars. I think that was add a lot to the song, which was sort of David Lee Roth inspired. So I think this one has better. You know, I actually think the hooks are actually better on this one than We're Here to Rock You, if I'm being honest. But I think that maybe We're Here to Rock You is better recorded. I think it's a better vocal, and there's more lushness to the production. But I think this is a better song between the two.
Rockin' Donkey says that it seems appropriate that the first recorded post-virginity song is I Like the Way I Rock.
Well, no, it wasn't written post-virginity. It was recorded post-virginity. That's the trick. I think
Did I say written?
Yeah, you said written. So the thing is, as far as the songs written post-virginity for the album, that would only be the Conan song.
You're like, now that I have had sex, I just want to watch television.
Oh, and this is the first song of the catalog that has Bobby Consiglio on drums, because Tim Burris, who played drums on We're Here to Rock You, who I think Bob would agree is a better drummer, cost way more. Bob was a lot cheaper, which was why Bob played drums on most of the album. Because, Tim was expensive. Like, he was good. He was really good. But I'm like, I will not be able to afford this album at this price. Versus Bob is like a friend. And so I got the friend discount, and whoo boy, did I need the friend discount for especially paying for studio time too. So yeah, let's move on to the next song on the list. This is a bit of a controversial one in the catalog, but I actually think it's quite good. I think it could use some tweaking, but I think it's quite good. So Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon is next on the list. The funniest thing about this song is that the Needlejuice kids thought this was a Steve song, and they all thought you sang this one. And to me, that is hilarious, and also a huge compliment, because like, oh, he's such a better singer. Thank you. Thank you for thinking I was Steve, but no, that's me. Like, that's the nicest thing you could say about my vocals. Is like, I thought you were Steve. Like, that's fantastic. This song was also
they could think you were Morgan.
That's true. That would be more of a compliment. Yeah, so this song was
harder to pull off, though, I think.
Yeah, I don't have the range for that.
Sorry.
So this song was written for Manpower because I was trying to write songs for the band. And I thought the band doesn't have like a ballad. We should have a power ballad for this band. And I realized like there wasn't a good power ballad for like the anime con scene. Like it was all just like, boy, do I sure like this anime. Let me write a dance song about it. And so I'm like, what if I wrote just like a sincere power ballad, but with the lyrical set dressing of an anime con? And sort of like the main musical inspiration was probably like the Raspberries, even though it doesn't really sound like the Raspberries, but I think their rhythms was what I was going for, but then it ended up, becoming its own thing. So like thought of the Raspberries, didn't sound like the Raspberries, but still had like that ethos, I guess. And I think it's one of the better vocals on the album, as evidenced by people thinking that it's you. I think that the lyrics could have used a little bit of tweaking. I think they needed a little bit of tweaking to not come off so goofy towards the non-anime fans. Like the anime fans actually appreciated the sincerity of the piece. And I think they felt that like that longing high school romance, because it was meant to be from the POV of someone in that headspace, not from me in my 20s when I wrote it, but it was meant to be me, the character, as a teenager, pining for that romance that I cannot achieve. And so it was meant to be something that was
because you don't have a driver's license and she lives in a different state,
right? And so it was meant to evoke that of like someone in that that POV character. And I think I've gotten messages from anime kids who are really touched by the song and love it. But I think some of the lyrics are just a little bit cheesy, and I think if we tweak them slightly, they would have gone better with the non-anime fans. Like the line, I was just like Ash from Pokemon, I think is probably too weebish for like the Lipstick One fans. But I still think the overall sentiment is actually really good. I think it's really strong. I think it's a really strong chorus. I think it's really catchy. This also debuted with Greg Troyan Band, and I think it's a good song. I do think it's a good song, even if I think we could have tweaked it a little bit.
I think one risk of trying to make Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon more broadly appeal to the hair metal crowd is, I think, making your narrator out to be a fellow teenage anime fan to this girl makes it a fairly innocent, cute song. Whereas if you tried to downplay that too much and make it more hair metal, then you start getting into the territory of like, wait, who's this guy creeping on a teenage girl dressed as an anime schoolgirl?
But I think it's more a matter of like, I think just a couple lines tweaked. Like I think most of it is good as is, but maybe change the Pokemon line to something else. I think just minor tweaks. I think it's mostly there. And this is just a matter of like us not having a producer and just figuring it out ourselves. But I do think like the core of the song is really strong. The idea is good. And again, I think that the sentiment of I want to write a good ballad that actually has heart for the anime con scene. And because like so much of it is just like hiding behind like layers of sarcasm and jokes and just surface level weebishness of just like, I like this show. Isn't it cool? I wanted to write something for that crowd that actually had heart and was actually like a good song, like a song that's just like musically is, you were mentioning when we were talking about the Game of Thrones songs, how I want my lipstick songs to stand against every single piece of recorded music ever written and not just like be a joke meme. That is how I approach this one. And I think like it is really strong musically. We're talking about Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon.
You just keep on listening to reasons why it was rejected as a Manpower song.
That's true.
A song with a lot of heart that strives to be legitimately melodic and musically stand the test of time. No, sorry, we need a joke song where we all chant something fun.
I think it would have fit in with Manpower as a good change of pace and like the actual one sincere song of the set. But it got rejected as not being good enough. So what do I know?
I mean, they also didn't want Rock and Roll Anime Girls. I don't think we actually pitched Rock and Roll Anime Girls to them in the end, but it would have been rejected.
Yeah, but Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon, I am proud of that as a songwriter, despite like some goofiness. And I know the line like using Facebook as in the song, does date it a bit. but I think that it really paints the picture. And so I'm glad that like I really created that narrative with that song.
More like Girl Dressed as Sailor Boomer.
Got me.
Ew.
All right, so looking at the list, I think this is actually the highest ranked Lipstick One song. So we've got
yeah.
So next up is Rock and Roll Forever. So this is the song that the record labels liked the most. When I met with the vice president of Curb Records and we were talking about the demo, this was the song he said, that's a hit. Now you need to write me like 3 more before I'd even dare consider signing a hair metal band in this day and age. Which, like, that was a very funny conversation. Like, yeah, you have talent, but you are such a risk. I need more guaranteed hits if I'm even going to think about signing you. What's like, you know what? That was fair. That was honestly probably about as good as we could have gotten at that time.
Right.
But I mean, Rock and Roll Forever. I mean, it's one of the catchiest songs on Lipstick One. You know, great hooks, great lyrics, just like basically shouting out like bands that are cool. And just like how everything is rock and roll, and that we don't need to get into specifics about genres. It's all about just like loving the music and hanging out together and having a good time. And so I think,
right, obvious show closer is obvious.
Right. I mean, I mean, this would be the one where we would jam out, let each of the musicians do a little solo as I introduce them at the end. I mean, it's the obvious show closer. The fact that I was watching the live performance of Love of Some Kind where I proposed. And we still closed with Rock and Roll Forever because the show wasn't done. So even though the emotional highlight of the show was the proposal, like, but we still got to do Rock and Roll Forever. You can't not do Rock and Roll Forever. The crowd expects it.
What else are we going to do at the end of the show?
I mean,
that would be funny to do. Have done Love of Some Kind as like an encore. Like we do Rock and Roll Forever, and the crowd chants for us to come back on, and then do Love of Some Kind. Or they don't, and then you never get married.
We don't that no. But it's still funny, like how after the like sincere, authentic proposal, like, but we gotta do the arena rock closer. That's what Lipstick does,
of course.
And also, like, you know, Amanda being the one for me was like, yeah, of course they have to do Rock and Roll Forever. You can't not do Rock and Roll Forever. Like that's the gal for me who understands that dynamic. Yeah, Rock and Roll Forever, like, it is a little bit cheesy.
Describes it as cheesy. It is.
I mean, it's cheesy, but, like, that's, like, it's... I think the cheese works. Like, I think it's... I think this is a complete success of a song. I don't really have... I don't know, what do you have on this one, Steve? Anything else?
Well, yeah, that's sort of the thing is, like, there's authenticity versus cheesiness versus cringe is all sort of in the eye of the beholder. And so this is one of those ones where, like, yeah, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's authentic. It's really putting yourself out there. It's like, this song is about love and hope and rock and roll. And those are the things that are legitimately important to us. And if that's the sort of thing that you cringe at, then I don't know, not my problem, bro. I'm going to still be over here being hopeful and singing about rock and roll. I'm playing a couple oompas on my bass.
Yeah. I mean,
because I can't solo.
You know, hey, the oompas are fun. But yeah, Rock and Roll Forever. I mean, it's a great closer, and also set the tradition of Lipstick having like a closer on the album and then a Christmas song, because that's the actual end of the album. The actual end of the album is the Christmas song. So, like, we have our big arena rock closer, but, like, then you got a Christmas song after that.
Of course.
Yeah, the highest ranked Lipstick song, but the reason that is the highest ranked Lipstick song is because it's all Lipstick 2 from here on out, because, as mentioned, you guys came because of Steve. You like me now, but Steve is the reason you all found Lipstick. Let's be honest.
And Jace, you know, they were Needle Juice Records fans mostly first.
But speaking of Steve's songwriting, we've got Electric Pussycat next on the list. So my contributions to this were mainly, like, I have a co-write, but this is mostly a solo write by Steve. My contributions were just, like, being around when he was coming up with the joke and the idea of the song, And then I came up with like doing a gang chorus on the Destroy the Past line and the meow backing vocals. But otherwise, this one is pretty much all Steve. So why don't you take this one?
Yeah. So, I've talked about We're Here to Rock You as sort of the platonic ideal of a Lipstick One song. I describe this one as being the platonic ideal of a Lipstick Two song, and that it's, got a whole bunch of sci-fi lore for no really good reason. It's kind of silly, and it's very glam. So glam that we stole the title of it from a different glam band that we shared practice space with.
Well, I think we should explain the story behind that. So we were sharing practice space with a band called The Tip, and
The Drip at the time.
They were called The Drip, and then they changed their name to The Tip. And they had a bunch of pictures of naked women on the walls. And when asked why, they said the pussy inspires us, man. And so we were looking through their song notebook, and there was a song
which they just left in the shared practice space for whatever reason. Who does that?
And there was a song called Electric Pussy. And so Steve thought, what if I wrote about a cyborg cat sent from the future to destroy the past, Mr. Cool's ex-girlfriend? I think I did come up with the idea of it being like Mr. Cool's ex-girlfriend, Ellie. So,
yes, that part was you.
All right. So like the lore of the character, I was, significant in. And I also did design Ellie. Like her design was me. But that's not part of the song. It's just part of the album art. But the point being, like, that's where the next of the song came. And the song was actually originally called Electric Pussy until my wife said, no, you can't call it that and just put that on your album. Like, you have a lot of younger fans. You need to change it to Electric Pussycat. And she was right. I think that was a good move in the long run. But like,
I guess
we did like introduce it like at shows as Electric Pussy.
We did for the first couple times we played it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and what's funny about this one is like, this was Steve trying to write a hair metal glam song. And it's actually pretty different from like the genre and like the chordal patterns and the guitar phrasing used. It's like, it's actually not really a hair metal song. And so we actually were going to have a friend of mine who actually plays like this kind of music on the song, but he didn't want to do it because he's like, no, that sounds bullshit. It's not real metal. And it's funny because like he was able to sniff it out. And he wanted to play on Girl Dressed as Sailor Moon instead because he recognized like, oh, like an actual like hair metal guy wrote this. And so that is funny that ended up happening. I thought that was hilarious. That he was able to sniff out that it wasn't written by a real hair metal guy. But that said, like, it's a catchy song. It's interesting because it's me singing a Steve melody, and I'm actually doing a decent job with it. It's just very interesting for me, like as a performer, to sing Steve's melodies. It gives a different dynamic to it. But yeah, I think it's a strong song, and I know why everyone likes it so much. I mean, it is really catchy, fun, all the lore. Yeah, good stuff.
I do also love how much of the lyrics of this song are just literally the elevator pitch of the song. As I was like, Greg, we need to write the song. It'll be about a cyborg cat. She's sent from the future to destroy the past. And then just took that exact string of words and be like, all right, so that's also the chorus.
Right?
We're just going to say she's sent from the future to destroy the past a lot of times.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's catchy. And so, like, I don't think this is one of the songs that, if we're talking like songs that, were making people not take the band seriously, I don't think it's this one. I think this one is actually fine. I think this one passes the smell test. Did not pass the smell test for Iggs for playing guitar on it. But you know what? At least he still wanted to play on the album, just couldn't due to like timing issues. But that was always the funniest part.
Power metal is an established genre, so I think enough people, like would see this song and be like, well, this isn't that different than, Cyborg Queen. Oh shoot, what's the name of that band? They did Last Man Alive, and that's gonna bother me until I remember it.
Well, while you look that up, I'll move on to the next song. So speaking of Steve songs, because we're at the top of the ranking, because that's how it works with this crowd. Next up is Fake Nerd Girl. So this one I'm actually proud of because this is really me. I think it's selling as a producer in the sense that like
Yeah.
we went through your songwriting notebook and I recognized, ooh, this one would go really well on the album. I think this is perfect in the sequencing. I think the energy behind it is perfect. I think Dougie plays excellent guitar on it. The backing vocal contributions I made in terms of arrangement, I think added to the song. And so this was me, like acting as a producer on this track and recognizing the strength of the song. And it's become a fan favorite of a lot of the Needle Juice kids. It's a really good song. And even like the reviews of the album at the time said like, it's a change of pace, but it's good. And that's what I recognized of it, of being like a good change of pace, a good first Steve song in the catalog to have you sing vocals on. We had the bonus tracks on Lipstick One, but this was like the first, like, okay, Steve on an album proper singing. And I think it's just a home run. I think it absolutely works in every way. Even the lyrics, I think because it's a different person singing, it's like, okay, here's this guy. He's got this personality. I think that dynamic works. Perspective. And so with Greg, the character, the singer, you get the more authenticity and it's more straightforward. But then with Steve, you get like the more biting sarcasm.
Pure snark.
And I think that dynamic works in the same way, like, you have like John Lennon and Paul McCartney coming from two very different perspectives lyrically. And while there is some crossover, that difference makes the albums dynamic and interesting. And I think this one was a success. Like, I would not cut this from the album. I think this absolutely works. So now we're moving up to a song that you called Ska Song because you were lazy about typing it on streaming services. But it's actually called Lipstick Encouraged You to Have Fun at Our Shows, but not at the expense of other concert goers. That's the canon name of the song. And this one is interesting.
I think it was J. Scott Lazy. If it's showing up on streaming under the name Ska Song.
On YouTube, you also labeled it Ska Song. When you did it on our personal channel.
There, yes.
Yeah, so it started because of you.
Well, we both kept calling it Ska Song the whole time.
No, I kept correcting you, and then your band is going to make it. We got to have all hands on deck. Whatever is the best material, it needs to be like put on the table. But you were like, no, band loyalty over the best material. I wrote this song for this band. I won't allow it to be used for other bands. And so I was like, okay, well then I really want us to have a ska song because that energy and dynamic works so well. Because when we played that house party, a ska band followed us, and we're like, oh, I can see the appeal of this. This would be something that'd be a good flavor on Lipstick 2. And so here's the trick. Fatty Gets Off is a better song, but the ska song in Lipstick 2 is a better recording and is more fun to listen to. And because I was A-B'ing them, because I remember like, oh, Fatty Gets Off, I love it. Like Michelle, great singer, better singer than me. She doesn't pull off comedy well.
No.
And me,
no, she's good at angst.
Right, she's good at angst. And me, like, I can do a David Lee Roth. I can absolutely do a Diamond David Lee Roth. Like, I am singing, and there's that sense of humor to it. And so, even though I think Fatty Gets Off is a much better song in terms of the writing itself, when you're actually A-B'ing the two, our ska song actually comes off better because it does give that sense of fun much more. It does make you feel like you're at a party. And so, like, it's actually the better song of the two because of how much better the recording is, which is very weird to me because I view it as such a lesser song writing-wise, but it actually is better because we've got the back and forth vocals, the comedy dynamic. The comedy actually lands in our song. It doesn't land in Fatty Gets Off. And that was very interesting to me revisiting them because I'm like, oh, but Fatty Gets Off is so much better, but it's not, which is weird to me.
I think the trick with Fatty Gets Off, too, is that because it's a Blue Matches song, it's not really intended to be a comedy song, which is always a central conflict when I'm in quote-unquote serious bands, is that I rarely write serious songs in that way. Like, even if I have something serious to say, I'm going to, like, wrap it in 2-3 layers of irony and jokes. And so just, like, in the context of a Blue Matches album, everything else around it are serious songs. The closest you get to jokes are, like, the Barbershop Quartet intro to the song Dickerson Pike.
Right, and that's also, I don't even know. that seems like a really weird song to start with a joke as far as songs on the album.
That's okay. Everything on Dickerson Pike is fake dive motels now, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the lyrical content, like, hey, we're going to trivialize this sex worker's experience with a joke at the start of the song. Like, feels like a weird choice to me. But yeah, as far as the ska song, I think this is one of Casey's few solos on the album, and I think he does a good job with it. I think your trumpet playing is actually, I know you say it's not very good, but you made it sound good. And so.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the trick with the trumpet on this one is like, that was me working myself into peak trumpet playing form in that we were recording this album at the same time that Blue Matches was recording their album. So I was getting myself into trumpet playing shape so that I could do Fatty Gets Off, Lipstick Encourages You to Have Fun, and also all of the trumpet parts for Regdar and the Fighters, Ballad of Constance and Johnny, all at once. So I just had to like build up my embouchure over the course of a week so that I could actually play semi-decently, and then record all those songs at once, and then go another 2 years without touching the trumpet, which is what I normally do. So most of the time, like when I'm doing trumpet, it's Jace has said, hey, Steve, we need some trumpet for this Nuclear Bubble Wrap song. And I spend a day building up my embouchure and recording the song, and it's not great. So next time he needs to be like, here's 3 songs we need, so I spend a week on it.
There you go. But yeah, this was one where when I was originally like thinking about the songs in the ranking, I was a bit lower on it. But after like listening back to it, and especially comparing it to Fatty Gets Off, which was the song I was jealous of, like, this actually holds up, and I can see why it ranked so high. Like, this is the Rock and Roll Forever in terms of placement on the album, where like here's like the concert closer before the Christmas song. That is what this song accomplishes. But it's, it has the back and forth vocals between you and myself, which I think is a dynamic that the fans like, which I also like. I mean, there's a lot good here. And like there's
this also one of the rare songs that was directly the two of us sit down and hammer out a song from scratch together.
That's true. And so those all ended up at the end. All right, top 3. So there is a small sense of satisfaction that this is not the top song in the ranking, because I would like a song that I wrote to rank above this. And it did, ultimately. But Teenage Girlfriend is next on the list. It would have been like, don't get me wrong, like, this is a great song, but it also would have been a huge ego blow to me if Teenage Girlfriend won. I'm just like, turns out Greg isn't, a good songwriter. It's Steve. But also, like, I can't be upset with this ranking high. Like, I was the one who pushed for it to be on Lipstick 2. I recognized what a staple it was of the Regdar show and what good response it had. It felt like the way this song feels to me is that it feels like a song that has always been a hit, always been a classic. Like the kind of song that should have existed for decades and been just in the rotation on an oldies station because it's just one of the greatest songs of all time. It has that energy and aura to it. And that's what I want to capture with Lipstick, is songs that feel like they are classics. And this is one that feels like a classic. It's phenomenal all around. It's weird that this is now like the canon version of the song. Like the best recorded version is the Lipstick version with like the more complex guitar parts than you normally play, which I'll actually be honest, I prefer the less complex guitar parts, the simplified version.
Yeah, you fought me on that.
I did, but I'm like, you know what? It's his song. And that was one of the times where I decided, you know what? There are certain instances where I should have trusted my instincts. This was one where I'm like, no, he's probably right. Even if I prefer the other way, I think you were ultimately right. And yeah, I mean, this is your signature song.
Yeah. I mean, that's the trick with this sort of thing is like, by the time we were recording this album, I had been doing Regdar and the Fighters for a decade. And so you had a decade of material that I had done with that band to pick through. So obviously it's pretty sensible that you were able to find a song that like had a really excellent core that had a pretty bad recording to jump from and just do a much better version of that.
And it also like it got really good reviews from critics at the time of the release, as like I remember like critics saying it's weird that I like this song so much because I don't feel like I should, but it was a highlight. And again, like the perfect sequencing of just like a ballad buried deep in the album by not the primary vocalist. Like that is great placement for that song. Like right before the arena rock closer and then the obligatory Christmas song, like because it feels like a penultimate track. But with Lipstick, there's always the penultimate track is
Christmas song.
Yeah, right. No, that's the finale. But the one before it is always like the one that should be the closer, but then it's a Christmas song after that. There's always like this should be the end of the album, but because it's Lipstick, here's a Christmas song. And so in that way, this feels like a great album is finishing, ballad buried deep in, the Beth of the album. It's great. Write this song. It is a co-write, but because I wrote this, I can feel some sense of satisfaction that one of my originals, at least being out Teenage Girlfriend, we've got Gotta Eat When You Can as the highest ranked original voted by this panel of Needle Juice fans who like joke songs. Gee, I wonder how Gotta Eat When You Can ranked high. So here's what's funny. Jace, who is on the song, ranked this last place of the Lipstick songs. And when I asked him why, he said, too many chomps.
Just fair. I love the bridge on this one. Just that this is my ballad to potato salad, that slow, beautiful delivery, that whole thing that just stirs joy in my heart. And like I like to, the reviewers hated this song. A lot of people like this song specifically was their breaking point where they were like, I do not get what this band is doing anymore. But I think this is a very this song is, me helping Greg and Greg doing whatever it is that he wants to do, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And I think that's something to be proud of, even if no one else got it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, as when I'm talking about like songs that would, cut from the album, I would not cut this no matter what. This would be like flag in the sand. I refuse to cut this because I think it's great. I think it's catchy. I think it's fun. I like the silliness. I liked how we would throw candy into the crowd during this song. I thought that was a fun gimmick. But like, I think it's really catchy. I like the weird time signature on the chorus. Like that's like the fact that we get like weirdly proggy on this song of all songs is just so fun. But things it doesn't seem proggy because it's still catchy. And it has like a big pop hook, even if it's just the word chomp over and over again. Which was
this was also one of the most fun to write.
Yeah, I mean, this was fun to write because we had so many alternate versions of the lyrics about different foods. And so when we sang it live, like it was never what we sang on the album. It was always improvised because we had so many alternate verses. And we recorded those and we never actually released those. And maybe we should at some point because I think the fans on the Discord would love just having the alternate words to Gotta Eat When You Can because there's so many alternate versions.
So many of them.
Like,
because this is, you were talking about like we did a lot of like 70-30 co-writes, whereas I think this one you showed up with it 75% written musically and 30% written lyrically. Because you had like basically the chomp chomp chomps done and the gotta eat when you can refrain, and then we just sat down for like 2 hours coming up with rhyming couplets for every possible food we could think of.
Well, musically,
I sparked joy.
Musically, I wrote all of it except for the bridge. The bridge was you.
Except for the bridge, yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, basically it was just like us making food jokes for hours. And
yeah,
honestly, that's one of the best songwriting sessions I've ever had. It was amazing.
Right.
And then
peak our friendship.
Peak our friendship and then eating afterwards. I mean, this song is a joy. And then, the inspiration for this was I watched one episode of an anime called Toriko, which was basically like an anime where the main character is going on a shonen anime quest to create the ultimate 7-course meal and just fighting monsters to get ingredients to just create like really awesome food. And like, instead his signature move is called knife and fork, where he does like a key beam out of like a knife and a fork. And it's very silly. And the subtitles, like the opening theme song, had like a hook where they just said chomp a few times. And that was like, I'm going to write a stupid song about food now. And so it's their music.
And the Gotta Eat When You Can is from Gintama.
Yes, the line "Gotta eat what you can" is from Gintama, where a homeless character is hosting a food eating contest, and he's just excited because he gets to eat food because he's like, I'm homeless, I'm just desperate for anything. Gotta eat when you can, right? And he's otherwise like a Silent Bob character, never speaks. That's his only line in like the entire, 1,000 episode show is gotta eat when you can, because he's just excited to eat food. And so that was like the nexus of like those anime influences. But then just like the chorus I heard in my head had a really weird time signature. So I just had to learn it. And I remember I struggled with it at first, like, why is this so hard to play? Like, oh, right, because that's a weird ass time signature. All right, cool. And then the band
He's just,
complained
like,
about it.
dropping a beat. Yeah.
But like that first episode left an impression like, this show seems cool. I like it. It's about food and fighting stuff. That's my kind of show.
Coming up with sequel names for it.
Right?
Sean gave this one a pretty low score too, didn't he?
Well, that's
Yeah,
because
he
he didn't know it was inspired by Toriko. Otherwise, he would have ranked it higher. But yeah, so now it's time to do the ranking from the bottom to the top. But because if I read it, the screen will freeze. Steve, why don't you read the ranking from the bottom to the top?
All right, from bottom to top. We skipped love of some kind, so nobody's feelings would be hurt. But then, I want the world to know, love one another. It's Christmas and you don't want me here. On the eve of the attack, having fun, stop, drop, and rock and roll. Alone, Merle, tonight, we're here to rock you. Stop, the Conan Song. Fight back, the Flash. You can't stop the rock. Christmastime Machine. Rock and roll anime girls. I like the way I rock. Girl dressed as Sailor Moon. Rock and roll forever. Electric Pussycat. Fake nerd girl. Lipstick encourages you to have fun at our shows, but not at the expense of other concert goers. Teenage girlfriend. Gotta eat when you can. But the best song on the entire Lipstick discography, according to this panel of experts and also the band, is Cha-La Head Cha-La.
I mean, it's the only song that was actually a hit. Not necessarily a hit by us, but like it is the one hit song of the bunch, so that makes sense.
It is a popular song, yeah.
And the thing is, we did do a good version of it. And so I can see like, it's the best video we've done. I don't necessarily like my vocal approach to it. I think that was an example of me listening to outside influences, and I should have done the more nasally glam vocal. I think that the aggression doesn't work for that kind of song. And the thing is, the more awkward glam would actually fit better with what Kageyama did in the original. I think that would actually be a better fit. But that said, I think like this was, I think, a success for us. This was sort of the only song we did that really captures the Adam and Nick era of the band, where Nick played everything like he was Neil Peart, and Adam was the one who first played the song with us live. And so because of that, the song always had like a little bit of Rush energy to the drums, and Adam's flair of his guitar style, like that more Zakk Wylde style, became part of the identity of the song when we would do it live, because when other members joined after that, they remembered what it sounded like when we played it with that lineup, and so they based their performance off that. And so it has a little bit of their musical style, which isn't something that they can trademark, so they can't sue us for, having that elements of their style in there, because they didn't write the song.
You were saying earlier, Greg, that the songs that are ranked lowest are the ones that you played on, but you did play on this one.
That's true. I did play one note along
that
with
guitar. That guitar bend at the start. Yeah, we had like 5 of us do that.
Right, because we forgot to ask Chase to do it, and we're just like, shit, we need to add this. But I mean, I think it's a good arrangement. Like it was a staple of the live set for a reason, and I think this is another example of producer Greg recognizing a good song, in that, Quiet Riot did Come On Feel the Noise, which was a hit in England, but was obscure in the United States. And so I saw this live performance of Kageyama doing the song, and he was like dressed in like black and leather and looked like a rocker. And I was like, this would be a great song for an American rock band to do. And Lipstick started doing it, became a staple of our set, and I think we did do a good job. I would have liked a different vocal approach on it. Like, that's my one ding against this version. And I think
your vocal approach on this is good.
Well, that's I actually will disagree with you slightly. I think it's good, but not right. It could have been a better approach.
Maybe on the verses going the more nasal way, but I think on the choruses the aggressive cha la is good.
I think that's
jingles. Yes, this is our translation of it. Though for legal purposes, we do have it cited as fully a cover, and we don't claim any of the derivative nature of it because we were unable to contact the original rights holders to get rights to do a derivative work. So it is their version fully.
Yeah, so it's their version, but we did do our own translation, basically to also not deal with any legal issues from somebody else's translation and figuring out how to pay them. So actually, if you look at old live recordings of the band when we first did the song, it was based off a different translation. And so like those are different lyrics in those old performances. But, the lyrics we rewrote ourselves. Some of the meaning has changed, so it's not a one-to-one translation. So I did add my own little flair. Like the reference to Radical
Translation
Dreamers.
is interpretation.
Yeah. So like Radical Dreamers being a Chrono Trigger sequel was not at all referenced in the original song, but that was a Toriyama adjacent work. So it was like a tip of the hat to that and my love of JRPGs and Final Fantasy and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good song, and I think this was a good choice to include on the album. I don't regret this one at all. Like this one didn't make the fans riot and protest.
No, I think, if we were going to chop 2 or 3 of the Weeb songs, this would be one of the worst ones to do.
Yeah, because it's not outright Weebish unless you know it's Dragon Ball Z. And even then, Dragon Ball Z is
it's mostly just like a prog rock song. And I think fans would be like, yeah, there's a prog rock song about, chasing your dreams and doing what you love, which is just what Lipstick does.
That's true. But yeah, with that, we've reached the end of the ranking. We have ranked the songs on Lipstick 1 and Lipstick 2. Maybe we'll do another stream to rank those Game of Thrones songs. That'll be a much shorter stream. Just like, this one's not good, this one's not good. This one's okay.
Right?
Oh yeah, Jace
Rockin' Donkey says that Jace is in the video, so it's the best.
I mean, that is true. A music video with Jace is automatically better. And Julia is in that video as Mr. Cool in most of it. Except for the one sequence where it's actually Amanda in the Mr. Cool outfit. But most of it is Julia. I mean, I really like that video. I love the outside vibes.
We should do a ranking of the music videos and which ones based on who most clearly doesn't know their parts that they were miming along with.
That's Eyes of Love is clear that Lionel does not know his parts. Then yeah, it's anyway. I'm not going to rank the music videos. We're not doing that.
I think it goes Eyes of Love, Chala, and then Conan Song.
Right. I mean, that was also although Casey did not know the guitar solo at all.
I didn't know the bass part in Conan very well.
I mean, but you learned it.
Yeah, but I don't think well enough to like pantomime it very clearly in the video. Like I was pretty way off base.
Pun
not intended, but not recanted either.
But yeah, so we actually have a lot of people in the chat right now. So thoughts on the ranking? Is anyone surprised with the ranking? I was surprised. Like, my personal ranking is so drastically different than what the final ranking is. And usually when we do these ranking podcast streams or whatever, like
every single person who voted had at least 1 or 2 vast outliers compared to everybody else. But the overall ebb and flow of this ranking is more or less what I expected based on the preponderance of Needlejuice fans on it. It was always going to be shaped something like this, but yeah, there are a couple that, let's see, was my highest ranked song. Where is my highest ranked song? All right, so my highest ranked song came in 6th, but my 5th highest ranked song was 17th.
Oh, speaking of things, is the stream still going?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I still see us talking.
All right, cool. It just it ended up freezing for me, so I wanted to see if it was actually still working. Cool.
There is some incredulity about Gotta Eat being the second best song. That's it. The cream rises to the middle.
I mean, the thing is, like, that you have no one to blame but yourselves. You did this.
Democracy, it sucks.
This is what ranked choice voting does. Oh, it froze a few times. All right, well, good
Well,
to
every
know.
time you tab over, it freezes. Nifty is yelling about God. Put it in 10th.
Yeah, I thought the Lipstick One songs would rank higher, but I think it's really just comes down to like this poll was flooded by Needle Juice fans, and Lipstick Two is just a nerdier album, and so I think in terms of like the song quality, I think the albums are actually pretty on par, but in terms of like the aesthetic and vibe and atmosphere, Lipstick Two is much more needle coated. So I don't think there's like a that big of a gap in quality. And that's actually what I thought at the time. So that's why I thought that Lipstick 2 would land better with fans, but apparently not.
Iron Savior, that's the band I was trying to think of earlier that, you know, does a bunch of sci-fi nonsense power metal songs.
Yeah, Merle ranking low, I was very surprised with. I thought like the Needle Juice fans would be like, oh, this one has narrative. I'll rank it a little bit higher, but, you know, they don't like Meatloaf as much as me, so makes sense. Not as much as Vegetarian Greg. And since we've got everybody on the stream, I will tell everyone that it's been mentioned a few times, but we are actively working on new music. We've got a 6-song EP that we are currently working on, and we actually got some of the first drum tracks bat today, or rather the like first like tracks our drummer said, "Hey, do these sound good?" And
which I will be downloading as soon as we finish this stream and looking at.
They seemed okay to me, like in terms of like, you know, a little bit of sloppiness, but it's like it's like in terms of like, hey, is this like what you're going for? I think it works.
Yeah.
But you know, it's meant to be a scratch, not maybe a proper recording. And actually, for the Nuclear Bubble Wrap fans, it is going to be Julia. So this is going to be even more of a Nuclear Bubble Wrap offshoot with Steve, myself, and Julia being Lipstick, essentially. So be excited for that, but also don't expect it anytime soon because we are moving at a snail's pace over here with all the projects everybody is involved in. But you know, it's like the old adage: you can have it good, you can have it cheap, or you can have it quick. And we don't have money, so if we want it to be good, we're gonna have to take some time for it. But I'm hoping end of the year with this, probably for 6 songs. That should be doable.
Yeah, I think so. Just a, you know, matter of getting all our act together.
Yeah, so hopefully the end of the year, you know, we'll see what happens first. If I make it to Shadowbringers and Final Fantasy 14, or this vlog comes out, or the EP comes out, we'll see what happens for the 14 fans in the chat, because there is that the 2 of you that cross over. So thanks for that. But yeah, I guess any closing thoughts, Steve, on this catalog nostalgia trip? I think it was fun going over like the songwriting with the people, so they could, you know, hear us talk shop and understand the nexus behind the songs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have any particular additional thoughts. It was fun to revisit all these tracks.
And it was nice to get your perspective on a lot of the Lipstick One stuff, because you weren't on that. And so to like really get like your thoughts on, hey, we never really played I Want the World to Know. Here's me critiquing you, Greg. Like, that was nice. I appreciate that. But with that, I think it's time to end the stream. Thank you all so much for watching. Steve, thanks for being my best friend and bassist, and you know, making me do lipstick again after all these years. Like, come on, Greg, you know you want to. So everybody,
you want to come out of retirement.
Everybody, thanks Steve. But yeah, that's the stream. I'll see you guys on the Discord. Basically, bye everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. Thanks everyone.
End.
And